Quickly into space, Concepcion, blockers in front, and here he goes. KC says TD.
This is 365 Sports.
Final 30 seconds of the quarter. Second down throw to the end zone. Douglas. Touchdown, Texas Tech. What a drive.
365 Sports is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Sorsby the key, with a cut! Broken ankles! See ya!
365 Sports is also brought to you by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952.
Another first down for Vandy. Pressure off the edge. He steps up, and now he's going to run for the end zone and score. Diego Pavia.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Brown takes another shot. Wide open Koger. Touchdown, South Florida. 63 yards.
Now here's David Smoak and Paul Catalina.
And here we go on this Wednesday afternoon. Good afternoon. 365 Sports, Craig Smoak. Boy, that was a quick. Is the music there or fading in or out? Craig Smoak is out today. You can kind of feel that roughness or hear it in his voice on Monday. He's out today, hopefully back tomorrow. We do have Dave Bartu today from College Football Matrix to look back at the release of the standings last night. There are teams that have no chance. There are teams that maybe you look at that might have a chance that, well, because of what were some of the decisions and things said by the committee last night with Hunter Yurachek. It's also National Signing Day. Paul Catalina here with me, and we appreciate your time. The Baylor AD job, by the way, just a little nugget or two. That thing's starting to close in, and I think that I'm not going to use the ESPN term imminent, but they're closing in on that, and I think that might happen, if not in the next day or two, by the end of the week for sure.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then keeping your football coach when you got an AD done that fast makes even less sense to me. Well,
I don't know if they knew they could get it that fast, but
saying anything about it at all.
Yeah, no.
And, the thing could have been, look, we're going to set a day of, if we don't have an AD by this time, we'll make an announcement about the football coach. But because they were trying to now completely futilely keep a recruiting class, they made the announcement that they did, and that blew up in their face too. Mm-hmm. So this hope the hire is a good one because he's now stepped into a more difficult situation.
Well, he wouldn't be interviewing if he didn't know that. He knows that.
I know, but
he or she.
Yeah, but I get that, but you've also made their job a lot harder for them before they started.
Well, they know that.
They know, but doesn't mean they can do it.
No, they could have.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you can ask me to build a bridge or fix a bridge, but if you blow it up before I get there, my job is harder, and I may not be able to do it the way you want.
But then why would you take the job?
Well, you think you can, but like what I am saying is it's not that person's, just like it's not a football coach's total control over whether his programmer is good or not. You have to have institutional support around you. You can ask me to do all the things that you want me to do. What I'm saying is they've made his job more difficult, or the next person, and if they can't get it done, I don't think they really need to blame that person.
No,
I think
the AD that takes over will have, you would think, a very long leash because he's already been told who the football coach is going to be, which is kind of backwards, although ADs have been hired when the football coach is entrenched in before. Dave Aranda had a presser today at Baylor at the Fudge football facility. And I asked him about how far behind or how much do they need with NIL? We're not talking about 2 or 3 million. You're looking at maybe 10 or 15 on top of what is the settlement of what they have for football. Their class was blown up. You know that. 4 players, Garrett, that decommitted to Oklahoma State, to Michigan, to Washington, and also Texas. We will get to National Signing Day. It's just not the same. It is for some who just continue to add talent. But we will get to that because there's yet again breaking news today when it comes to college football. It's been out for a couple of hours. Kansas State's Chris Klieman is going to retire, or he's going to step down. This was one of those when you could see some of the emotions from him, Paul, last year. And then just for some, they were frustrated. Some were mad at him because he was showing emotion. Some thought he was soft. I hated it because I like Chris Klieman, but we've seen something's going on, and I don't think it's because of anything personally like his health. I just think that he's run out of gas, and this job all of a sudden, which looked like it was cruising, it just hasn't worked out.
No, and, a lot of that could have been, just looked like personal stress. We talked about it when we played the clip last week of, how, he was feeling, or like how stressed he looked, because it didn't look like a coach who was just mad about a loss or mad about the way a season has gone. It looked like just a human being who needs a sabbatical at the very least, and made the decision to retire. I think that clearly, it's the right one for him right now because he made it, but official maybe 30 minutes ago or so from Kansas State, where they sent out this about thanks, Coach Klieman. And now we wait on the official announcement of Colin Klein, which I think is as officially unofficial, official, whatever you want to call it, as it can be, because it is, in fact, National Signing Day.
Yes.
And if your coach is going to retire on National Signing Day, you're going to have to call a lot of people and tell them who the coach is going to be. And you say, hey, it's going to be Colin Klein. And most of those players will probably be fine with it.
When I looked at some of the reaction from those who cover K-State, they were they seemed to be, okay, good. I don't think it's because they're being like spiteful, hateful, or whatever, but he'd run his course there, and I hate it because we like him. Well, whoever is next, Colin Klein, most likely the star from back in the day, and also A&M offensive coordinator, they're going to like him too, and we'll get him on when that time becomes available. But he's got work to do right now with A&M as they get ready for the playoff. Not this week, it might be a couple or so weeks. He's got some work to do in between. And then, of course, yesterday, the breaking news as we're doing the show with Kalani Sitake gets a new contract extension. BYU, this came up yesterday evening. Now, we're going to go through a couple of notes here. And first of all, if you're in the chat or watching us on Twitter, YouTube, wherever it might be, thank you. Kalani Sitake, this was at practice yesterday evening when BYU and Sitake had come up with an agreement that he would stay. Here's what he said to the team, and here's their reaction.
Hey, let's go. Listen, I know we talked about it yesterday and all that, but we don't need any more distractions, okay? You guys know we're working on all the details with agents and everything, but I'm not going anywhere.
So Kalani Sitake telling his team that's a good feel-good thing. They have the game Saturday morning, 11 o'clock at AT&T Stadium, and we will be there with a special pregame show from 9 until 10:30 at AT&T Stadium. Here is Kalani Sitake. And then, Paul, I want to get your feedback on this because emotions, people look at emotions differently. I don't know if we like anybody better than we like him. Of all the years we've been a part of this business, that doesn't mean there's other great coaches that are great people and humans. But Kalani Sitake, which one are we using here, Garrett? Is this the one where he talks about the love box or whatever it is? Just tell me. Just play it. Here's Kalani Sitake on the emotions and the support and much more when it comes to BYU.
So finally, I just want to express my love to all the fans. My wife said that the last day or so was probably one of her favorites and my family, and she called it a love bomb from all the fans, and it's hard to leave when you have something so special, and you have amazing people that support us, and so I'm just grateful that I get to be around the amazing fans, and to make things easier, we'll just quit all the drama, and I'm here.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that sometimes what there are coaches who are not built like Kalani Sitake that think that the only thing that they should get is adulation and not criticism. And when they get criticism, they're mad. And when they get adulation, they don't appreciate it because they're like, yeah, I mean, I'm awesome. You should be clapping. And that's not any way to live your life. But he really does feel appreciation, admiration from fans like that. And it was very real. And I'm not sure how deeply he considered it, but what Penn State did was give him an opportunity to make his life, his family's life, his team's life, his staff's life better and see how valuable he really was to the BYU athletic community. And they stepped up, and they stepped up fast. And there are other athletic departments in the country that their fans probably feel the same way about a coach that Kalani Sitake. But if this happened, they would play the game a lot more callously than BYU did. And they would be like, oh, okay. And they would, sometimes I do think they kind of dare guys to leave. Now, I'm also not on the side of just extend everybody and do all these things. But if Kalani Sitake was, in fact, making $3 million a year, he's the most underpaid coach in the country, given what he's doing year over year as the team entered a new conference. And he absolutely deserves everything he's getting and to be paid like one of the best coaches in the country. So super happy for Kalani Sitake, relieved for BYU fans, and confused for the poor Penn State fans who now have no idea. Because Jeff Brom, they thought, oh, we'll get him. He's told Louisville he's not going anywhere.
This is Nebraska and Steve Peterson, the AD, who went forever. Remember when they fired Frank Solich? And guess what? They ended up with Bill Callahan. I think Penn State's going to end up with probably an NFL-style guy like they've had before with Bill O'Brien, or maybe it's Dayball. I don't know. So I love the guy. I don't mind. I love when we've seen him. We've had him on. I'm glad that we just get to talk with him more into the future. And he also just discussed, decisions that he had to make, the experiences of being at BYU.
I don't have all the answers. When I remember 10 years ago when I got the job, I asked everyone to help me out, and it was a call to all of Cougar Nation to help me recruit. That's still going on. I still need that, but the thing that I'll tell you is exactly when you ask me, it's what happened with the outpouring of love. That's BYU, and imagine how what social media can be if we continue to follow the path of positivity and uplifting people. And I think it was something that was really beautiful that our fans did for me. I can tell you it made me feel really good. And I think we should do it more often for everyone and maybe turn it into a much more positive experience.
There you are. Kalani Sitake, he just kind of checks all the boxes. Plus, he's got a hell of a football team. Texas Tech, of course, drilled him in Lubbock, and they play Saturday morning at AT&T Stadium. Now, Go ahead.
Which, by the way, official sellout for whatever that means.
I'm surprised it's not. They're going to have to build a bigger stadium between now and then.
Yeah, with BYU having Globe Life rented out for the tailgate and all that, which I know we'll talk about. It's crazy, but an official sellout for that game. And I think the biggest, the most amount of tickets sold for that game since it came back to being a game again.
Oh, no question. I mean, you're talking about right now the Texas Tech fan base, which is still like very much locked in, even before what they've been able to do. Now you've given them even more of a crack with the success and the support in every way, facilities, financially. They're locked in, and BYU fans, we know they played Baylor and they weren't even a part of the conference, and up and down this road, all the way down to the inlet that is part of the Brazos River, were thousands of BYU fans.
The only reason it surprises me is because one of those games was Texas and OU.
Yeah, no, that's what Paxton just said. It broke the Texas OU state attendance. Yep.
I thought that like the Texas OU, I thought it'd be like, this is the second most. Obviously, a sequel of a Texas OU game was the most, but no. And maybe, and not to I'm not knocking those fan bases, but they maybe weren't as appreciative of the moment because it's not something that was new to them. So they're like, well, we've already played this team once. We had the big thing at the Cotton Bowl. It's not a big deal. This again, it's just a Big 12 title game. Who cares? As where these two teams never have experienced it before.
No, other fan bases would have been very much locked in too and bought a lot of tickets, but these were probably the two best. By the way, back to the Sitake, that first audio clip from Sean Walker. He goes, I'll admit, even this cold-hearted, much-maligned sports hack, he's talking about himself, and a blackened heart couldn't help but feel a little emotional over this. Say what you will about him, for good or ill, Kalani Sitake really is one of one. Now, Crumble Cookie. Man, this guy has gotten a ton of attention. Remember back when BYU stormed the field and they were fined, and he said, hey, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. BYU's got a few dudes and donors, both men and women, that can also feed the beast. Here's Garrett McClintock, Crumble. He sends the delivery notice. He puts it up on Twitter, sending Penn State football a delivery of Crumble cookies. And best of luck, Penn State, with that coaching hire or coaching search. And we're not done with them either.
Hold on. Let's see. I need to get the Crumble's menu changes each week.
But, Paul, look at that box.
I know.
That's out in front of the Penn State football offices.
Yeah.
He also got somebody to take a picture. And then some student or whatever, maybe just a random person said, oh, it's where it is. They don't deserve the cookies. We're going to go pick them up, and they would eat them.
Okay. So this week's flavors of Crumble Cookie: brownie batter cookie, a gooey chocolate packed with semi-sweet chocolate chips and topped with a delectable brownie batter. Holiday tree cake, a nostalgic vanilla sheet cake topped with a white drop buttercream, decorative garland-inspired red stripes, and a sprinkle of festive green sugar crystals. And that one is a little too, that one's a little fancy and a bit of more of a dart because it's like Merry Christmas, you don't have a coach. Snickerdoodle sandwich cake, which is 2 chilled classic snickerdoodle cookies, sandwiching a layer of vanilla cream cheese frosting. Sea salt toffee skillet cookie. There's too much to mention there, but
don't want that.
You hear that? Raspberry cheesecake cookie.
We're going to do the whole menu?
And sticky toffee pudding.
Do they really change it every week?
Every week they change it.
Okay, I was going to order Crumble and go by and pick it up here, but I had to go to a couple of press conferences and a couple of meetings, and I couldn't get there and get that done. So I may go online and order it to give Mr. McClintock a little money that he wants. Now, we're not done with Crumble. So, James, this is National Signing Day. We'll go over a couple of notes, and I'll also show you the rankings probably at 4 o'clock today where it is now. So, Virginia Tech had their national signing, and, of course, Franklin had a few guys that were able to change their commitment. Andy Bitter, who covers Vautech, coincidental dessert choice at the Hokies signing day ceremony put on today by James Franklin, and Crumble is there on the table.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Look, James Franklin's not going to miss an opportunity. And I do wonder if, The Todd McShay thing, I don't like yesterday where he'd gone on a podcast and said that since the James Franklin thing, Jimmy Sexton's kind of declared war on Penn State and is not bringing them any clients. And then Craig made the point of like, why would he do that? And it's the same reason like why a dog licks himself, because he can. He can do that. It's not
dogs have a great life.
Yeah, but like he can. But I'm starting to wonder if it's not just Jimmy Sexton, if it's you fired a coach who was in the playoff a year ago, who's done nothing but win 9 and 10 games every single year. What do you want me to do? Like what's my margin for error?
Yep.
And so it's going to be hard, and you're going to have to find somebody who definitely thinks that they can. I mean, they can do it, but they also know the nature of coaching is, okay, well, let's say we spend, we've got our revenue share and you give me $25 million of NIL to spend, and I spend it on the best guys, everybody, I get them away from everybody. Georgia doesn't get them. Ohio State doesn't get them. Michigan doesn't get them. Nobody gets them. They're all coming to Penn State. And then 3 of them get hurt and we go 7-5. Are you going to be mad because of that happened and I can't give you reasons? With James Franklin, I understand like the relationship ran its course, but the way that they handled it might have sent some shockwaves to the coaching world of like, do I want that right now? Or do I want somebody else to go into the fire, get truly burned and be 5-7 3 years in a row, get canned, and then I can go in and be like, I will save you, Penn State.
They are a great football program. They have won national titles. They were really close the last 2 or 3 years, and Franklin was pretty damn good. But, we got to the point now where if you don't win a national title or you don't get to the playoff, you're a failure. Or that's kind of what we see with all these coaching changes. And I'm not saying if you don't get to the playoff, but that's kind of like there are just some – because the coaches are getting paid more and more. But, yeah, you had a guy that got you close. And let's not say that the fan base wasn't bitching and moaning too, upset too. And now who are you going to get? Maybe you fall into somebody and you get lucky.
Look, the relationships run their course, especially in athletics, in sports. Look, right now, down the road from Happy Valley in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin is one of the great coaches in the NFL. It looks like it might be kind of over. And that doesn't happen that often in Pittsburgh. They don't hire coaches a ton, but it's been 19 years. So it's like, it doesn't mean anybody's bad or whatever. It just run its course. But how you handle that breakup is really what it means success sooner rather than later, or getting someone that you want, because they have either struck out or just caused all these people they wanted to talk to get extensions before they even had a chance to talk to them.
Yeah, no, their class fell apart. They're like 90 something.
No, they are outside the top 100.
Well, they'll recoup that with the portal. If they can get somebody, they got a month. The transfer portal opens up, by the way, a week from yesterday. I think, Garrett, January 2nd. Now, then we mentioned breaking news yesterday. Neil Brown. Here's the official image at the University of North Texas, UNT, Mean Green. They get the former West Virginia coach. He's been elsewhere. He's been an analyst at UT. He is the coach at North Texas. And this is while Eric Morris and the program are getting ready for a game on Friday against Tulane to try to win the American Conference and get into the college football playoff, which we will get into those standings here momentarily. One other coaching hire, and this guy has been a really good recruiter at Ohio State. Got great resume. Brian Hartline is now the coach, or is going to be the coach to replace Alex Golesh at USF.
Yeah, I'll start with Neil Brown. I love the hire. I think here there's a difference between these two hires, and I'll break it down for you this way. Neil Brown has the potential, to me, given kind of his journey recently, I would think he could be at North Texas for 5 years, which is really a great thing for an American Conference program. We saw they just got rated. I mean, all their best teams, their coaches are now at bigger jobs. And so I think Neil Brown, especially, we don't know him that well, but we got to know him a little bit when he was at West Virginia. I think this place kind of fits Neil Brown's vibe a lot, and that he, after going to West Virginia and jumping and taking that big job, the next one, I think he's going to make it's one of those things like, I'm going to make pretty darn sure that this is a place where I really fit and I really want to be, and it's good for me. Plus, Neil Brown comes from the Mike Leach tree, so they can continue that run there at North Texas of running fun, wide open offenses. And as far as Brian Hartline goes, you're here. If you don't make the top 5 today, I'll just spoil it for you right now. I gave this hire of Brian Hartline at USF an A+, and I could not stop giving A pluses. Do you know who the best recruiter of football talent in the state of Florida is?
Brian Hartline.
It's Brian Hartline.
Yeah.
Now, Brian Hartline has a job in that state. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, it's not at one of the big 3. It's not at one of the big 4. It's at the 5th biggest one. And that could be in flux. But USF has promised for the full allotment of revenue share for their athletes. They have a nice NIL kitty that is getting built up. They are in a city in Tampa alone that has a ton of talent that if you don't get the 5 stars, the 3 stars are as good as most of the 4 stars in some of their states. And they wind up being 3 stars because they go to USF and not Miami. Like, that's kind of how the rankings go. Brian Hartline is an absolute home run hire. And any of the other schools in Florida, including one that had a job open, and I think they did a good job with John Summerall, I think are kind of foolish not to consider him like USF did. He's going to do a lot of proving really fast, and he's going to net some players from teams that normally don't think that they have to worry about USF and put a scare into people.
Yeah, USF with Golis, who did a great job. Of course, they've had games or teams before in the past. Golis seemed like they had him on a really good foundation, and he's now at Auburn, right? And so Brian Hartline gets his chance, a phenomenal recruiter and a hell of a football coach too. Now, we're not done. Last night, we do have Dave McCann from BYU TV and also Deseret News. He's going to join us. He recorded an interview with Kalani Sitake about an hour ago, and he's joining us today at 3:40. So in about 15 minutes, we'll have Dave McCann join us on this show. Dave Bartu at 4:30 to break down what we're about to discuss. The college football standings released last night. Some of you fan bases had hope. Some of you now know it's not going to happen. Then you have the confusion of Alabama and Notre Dame flipping. And then you still have BYU. And here's the top 25. We don't need to go through all of it because really, unless you're in the top 10 or 12, because if you're 12, Miami, you still have a chance. Texas, 13, done. All the hope, all the odds that changed and all that, no matter their resume, no matter if you think they should be in because they were playing great at the end or not, it's impossible. And then you see that Alabama, Notre Dame flipped 8 and 9. Dave Bartu will discuss that with us. He didn't see that coming. He did tell me, remember yesterday, that A&M was going to drop to 7. Everybody else would move up one ahead of him who was behind him, and that this would be, he nailed it, except he did not have the Alabama-Notre Dame flip. Yep. Some are thinking it's protecting Alabama, and Notre Dame now is a little bit wobbly.
Well, Miami should still be ahead of Notre Dame because they beat them. And the explanation on that was just, I can't even begin to explain. But BYU is, basically what these rankings say, BYU has to win or they won't get in, which I think is kind of silly that you can have the Big Ten champion and the SEC champion just by virtue of being in the game are in, and you don't do that for the Big 12 champion whose records are similar. This is not like the ACC where if Duke upsets Virginia, like they have a real problem, that what would then be an 8-5 team it has qualified technically for the playoff. And then you wonder, does James Madison or somebody, leap them and a Power 4 conference doesn't get in? That is a conversation for if and when that happens. But Miami here, and look, I also think that the ACC is doing an injustice to itself with its tiebreaker is that, call me crazy, and I know that it's convoluted. It goes down to the strength of record of your opponents and all this. But like, why does that skip over the fact that like one team is 7-5, the other one is 10-2, and the 7-5 team is in over the 10-2 team? Like, shouldn't the actual record matter before that?
Well, the rules are that the 5 highest ranked conference champions, although you're right, Duke would not be that. And that also opens the door up for some others.
What
but
I'm saying
I
is
know what you're
the ACC's
saying.
got a problem.
No, well, but every conference could have that same problem.
Yeah, but shouldn't they look at it and go like, well, can we maybe have prevented this from happening where the actual best team in our conference, which is not Virginia, no offense, Tony Elliott in Virginia, they're very good. It's Miami is not going to get in because we created some convoluted rules. Look, they're getting Bowlsby right now. That's what's going on with Miami. It's a move called the Bowlsby, where you set up convoluted rules for your playoff, your championship, and the best teams aren't necessarily playing in it. They've got to really look at how they break down and how they order those tiebreakers, because I don't know, just as a fan of football, if you've told me there's 2 10-2 teams in the ACC, and yeah, they have 17 teams and there's all this other stuff, and the team that's going to play over one of them is 7-5, I'd be like, well, who the hell wants to see that?
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here? So the ACC's got to fix that. They've got to fix that.
Well,
and
but they always wait until. But okay, let me say something too. Now they always wait until it happens.
Yeah,
like the Big 12 in 2014.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But they've got to look ahead to these things. And here's the biggest reason why they have to fix that is I've just spent 5 minutes here defending a place that I wish didn't exist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I say that in jest again, but Mario Cristobal and the Hurricanes are going to get screwed here because of the nature of this playoff. And moreover, it's not necessarily the nature of the playoff of the top 5 champions. It's their own league that screwed them first. Before you start blaming the committee and you start blaming the rules, blame the ACC for not setting this up to where the teams with the best record in your league overall get in the game.
You can say it, but every conference could have had this nightmare and nobody figured it out.
Yeah.
The Big 12 kind of did in 14 because they didn't have a championship game, and that knocked TCU from 3 to 6, despite bludgeoning, I think it was Iowa State in the last game of the regular season. Baylor ended up beating TCU, but they were 5th, and they ended up 6th. They ended up 5th. TCU wins by 30, and they dropped to 6th. And then Ohio State got in, winning the Big Ten with, oh, by the way, a third-string quarterback. They did, and he was unbelievable. Cardell Jones, they won the national title. Now, Bruce Feldman. God, I had to look at this 9 times.
I thought
can we use it on there? Can we use it?
Yeah.
Bruce Feldman from theathletic.com, who's, of course, been a guest at our show, will show you what he said.
Did you think
once
it was
Hunter Yurachek responded to head-to-head?
I had to click on the account to make sure
it wasn't parody.
That it wasn't like Bruce Feldman _ college football.
So Hunter Yurachek says it's easier to use the head-to-head, which is Miami Notre Dame, as a data point if the teams are back-to-back in the rankings. Bruce Feldman, who may be one of the best gentlemen in the business, this is also effing stupid. They just keep making it up as they go along. It's like the college football committee is going to go out of its way to show that the sport is run by morons. God bless you, Bruce Feldman. I always respected you. I now really respect you.
Yeah. Great author and writer, and on our show all the time. Always been great. What I will say about this is, for Hunter Yurachek, also shouldn't have made Hunter Yurachek the spokesperson. He's not, like, it's not a good job for anybody. I still think Kirby Hocutt might have been the best because he's just naturally smoother than a lot of these other guys. But Hunter Yurachek, this was a dumb thing to say. Bottom line. And a lot of this is they back themselves into a corner where they have to answer these questions that there aren't really good answers to. And saying it, if they're back-to-back in the rankings, what do you mean? Notre Dame is 10-2. Miami is 10-2. One of Notre Dame's 2 is Miami.
Yep. So
that should be considered before you make the rankings. Like saying it after the fact is like you ask, like, so why does head-to-head not matter, especially when head-to-head matters in the playoff, because that's who you're playing.
But they do seem to pick and choose, which kind of creates this, what early losses and should they count? That was 10, 12 weeks ago, and they're better. Well, Notre Dame's better than when they lost to Miami, but Miami overcame a couple of losses, but they beat them. There's got to be head-to-head. It has to matter. Texas, which I didn't think had enough to get in, beat both Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. They're both ahead of them. They also were beaten badly by Georgia. And then we know Ohio State, and then the bad, awful loss to Florida. But games that when you play somebody, that's why you play the games to win and maybe give you an advantage. And it sometimes works and it didn't work. It didn't help Baylor. Did not help Baylor in 14 when they owned the win against TCU and then lost like the next week to Oklahoma State.
Okay. The only teams that you should feel bad for if they don't make the playoff this year are BYU and Miami. And maybe to some extension Vanderbilt because they're 10-2. But, the SEC is getting enough and the playoff is set up the way that it is. But nobody should feel bad if Notre Dame gets snubbed. They lost to the two of the three best teams they played, and USC was good, but not nearly as good as Miami and A&M. So you lost to an 11-1 team and a 10-2 team. You beat a 9-3 team. Everybody else in your schedule was average to below. That's not Notre Dame's fault. That's just how it worked out. They schedule better than most. It's not their fault Stanford's bad. It's not their fault that, these teams that they've classically played aren't good. But look, sometimes the wheel of fate doesn't spin your way. And I understand that Notre Dame agreed to this playoff format because it was essentially telling them if you go 10-2 or better, you're going to get in. But if part of that 10-2 is another team who has the same record and beat you, then maybe you don't get in.
Who's a bigger logo? Dave Bartu tells us it shouldn't matter. There's a couple of logos that might be left out. Notre Dame's one of them, and Texas, of course, is right there on the cusp, but they're not going to get in either. But having said that, ESPN, I want you to put the graphic up. This Jerome Jordan, he covers BYU, does a great job with them. Here is ESPN. Playoff profiles, number 9, Alabama, number 10, Notre Dame, and number, 13? Is that right? 12, Miami. Look at the small print under playoff profiles. What does it say?
BYU is 11th. So they just skipped over.
They didn't even include them in this comparison. Craig brought this up, I think, Monday or maybe it was last week about how they just skipped over BYU. So they have Alabama, they have Notre Dame, they have Miami, 9, 10, and 12. Underneath playoff profiles in small, like legal print, is BYU is 11. Didn't even you got to. I'm sorry, but this looks intentional. This is intentional. There's no question.
At the very least, it's irresponsible.
Okay, did they not have room for one more column? Hell yeah, they did. I mean, sure they did. But, come on. You can do what you want to do, and I know it's a tough job to find 12, and I don't care. But come on, this was intentional, and it's sad, and it's despicable that they are not included into this graphic. And then they would talk about it, and oh, by the way, did anybody that was talking about this even bring up, hey, wait a minute, BYU's 11, and they have Texas Tech. If they lose, they're done based on this, which we've discussed. And yet their resume is better than Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. Do you have that, Brandon, the resume with with BYU and Notre Dame? Can you pop that up there if you don't mind? And then we got a break. I know we got a break for our next guest. So here are the records. By the way, that's BYU's logo that was not on that graphic. Paul, look at the records.
Yes.
10-2, 11-1. Now this is with Notre Dame's done. They don't have to risk anything in a conference championship game. BYU could lose to Tech twice, but lose to a team that's ranked number 4 now. That was 5 or so. What were they, 7 or 8 when they played earlier? Strength of record, BYU's better. Strength of schedule, BYU's better. And they're about to play the number 4 team. Best win, 17th ranked USC, 15th ranked Utah, and a rival. And so is USC for Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Worst loss, Miami. Worst loss, number 5, Texas Tech. Everything there, the comparison, other than maybe they're looking at logos, BYU has the advantage, and they didn't even include them in that graphic, the one we showed before.
Yeah, it's yeah. And let me apologize to all the priests I grew up with when I'm advocating against Notre Dame now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but bottom line is, the facts are facts.
Notre Dame's playing really well. I mean, they got a great running back. Of course, their freshman quarterback in Carr. They're playing really well. But it's almost as like they do these shows and they go, all of you out there, we think you're stupid. And it's downright just insane. Dave McCann will join us, BYU TV and Desiree News. He sat down with Kalani Sitake earlier today. What has it been like in Provo, plus the game with Tech Saturday? We will have Sheil Wood as a part of our show either tomorrow or Friday. We're going to record him tomorrow morning, Texas Tech defensive coordinator. Let you know that. And this is 365 Sports. Brandon, just tell me, because I didn't open up my email. Just let me know.
It's going to be Petty.
PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man you want to be, need to be, and used to be. What can he do for you? Let's say your energy's not the same. You hear a lot about ED and sexual performance and all that, and it just isn't, it's not the same. And that's what gets almost all of the attention. I mean, my God, how many commercials for that are during an NFL game or anything? But also Low T that can create that can also create just your energy's not the same. You don't feel right. Something's missing, and you're not sick. You have a pretty good diet. You didn't eat like 3 plates of Mexican food the night before, but you don't feel right. And it's not just one day. It's been continuous. Something's missing. Your low T issue could be that. 1 out of every 3 or 4 men have low T, low testosterone. Dr. Kent Petty can help you out. Contact him, PettyClinicLowT.com. Tell him I sent you. Tell him your situation. They will set you up to get your blood work. They will pay for that. They will get the results. Get in touch with you. And if your testosterone level is too low, Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be, need to be, and used to be at PettyClinicLowT.com.
Batteries Plus has teamed up with the Dallas Cowboys as the team's official battery recycling partner. Batteries Plus doesn't just sell batteries, they recycle them too. Customers can bring in all lithium batteries from power tools, power banks, and small electronics for a chance to win Cowboys tickets, a VIP experience, and more at qualifying locations. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
My go-to guy. Can you fix my smartphone?
Yes.
Do you have car batteries?
Yeah.
What about golf car batteries?
Of course.
Battery from a G-Fob?
Absolutely.
My boat?
Huge variety.
Toy boat?
Sure.
Motorcycles?
You bet.
My apartment building?
Whole building.
Do you have batteries for my party lights?
Yeah.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Golfballs.com carries the latest selection of golf balls, clubs, and gear from brands such as Titleist, TaylorMade, and Callaway. Golfballs.com remains the world leader in golf customization. And of course, online at golfballs.com.
UBO Business Services. We are a studies-based service organization that is the best in Texas when it comes to copiers, printers, and scanners. The way we quantify that is through a company used by millions of corporations called Net Promoter Score. What Net Promoter Score looks at are your Google reviews. We have a better Net Promoter Score than H-E-B with a 65 and Ritz-Carlton Hotels with a 70. According to Net Promoter Score, if you're a 70 or above, you're considered world-class in customer service. UBO Business Services is an 86 when it comes to Net Promoter Score. You can find us at ubeo.com, ubeo.com.
You don't want to miss our best price deals during the Black Friday sales event at Allen Samuels. This month, you can save big on the truck you've been looking for, like the new Rams. Designed to be durable, functional, and stylish, Ram trucks give you that first-class feel. With premium options like luxurious leather trim seating, surround view cameras, and more. Shop our great selection in-store or online today. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, raise your cholesterol, and cause weight gain. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results. So if you're tired of being tired, call or go online
at pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $165 a month, including lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, and follow-up visits, compared to $300 or more a month in Dallas or Austin. And you don't have to drive 90 miles one way or the other and fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T has board-certified physician consultations and will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone. Contact Petty Clinic Low T for increased energy, improvement in sexual desire and performance, mood, concentration, even a decrease in body and belly fat. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, pettycliniclowt.com.
It's football season, and we can create your outdoor tailgating spaces that is actually a part of your home. Bifold doors that tie in the inside and the outside, and you can gain anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 square feet living space, all while taking in the big game poolside. Call us at Gather & Co. Kitchen and Bath, where we can create your unique tailgating space.
You got batteries for my side-by-side?
Yes.
Replace my flashlight?
Sure thing. What about my business?
Oh, good one.
100%. Batteries for my fleet of trucks?
Gas floor scrubbers?
Yes, and fire panels. We have pallets of batteries.
Well, what about...
As your go-to guy, if it needs a battery, we have it.
Well, that's all you had to say.
Could have led with that.
Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
365 Sports on a crazy 2 to 3, or really all season. And then the coaching deal. And then yesterday, the news about Sitake and Penn State lurking. And man, BYU reacted quickly. The emotions from him, unbelievable. They are playing Saturday, by the way. And Dave McCann, who sat down with Kalani Sitake, spoke with Ty Detmer earlier in the week, has been with us before on BYU. I know there's a game. We'll get to that. But what was it like I know you sat down with Kalani, and what did you come out of it from after all the things he said?
He was, first of all, happy holidays. It's great to be back with you guys. You guys do a great work.
Thank you.
Kalani was this close to taking that Penn State job. And really the biggest reason why is he wanted more support here for his staff and his players, financial support. And, to get it, I think what was frustrating for him is a P4 team had to come in here and almost buy him away just to get the attention that he needed from those who could make it better. And they came really close to losing, arguably the best fit of a coach that BYU could even ask for in all elements, football and off the field, and how he represents the church and all of that. It just about went out the door. It probably should have never got to this point, but it did. And thanks to Penn State, BYU fans have their football coach locked in for some time, and a happier staff that's feeling a little more respected with more support. But they almost lost all of it really fast. And Kalani would have taken his staff. He would have taken players. The night before National Recruiting Day is when this got resolved, and the recruiting class would have fallen apart. So the timing of it all, and of course, there's that game you mentioned on Saturday. It was like a perfect storm, and Penn State nearly got him.
He being underpaid is reported as $3 million a year, even if that's underpaid for even the middle of the road, schools like that to me was ridiculous just to start out. But you do sometimes have to threaten or do that. And this opportunity came along, and most schools would not be stronger for it. I actually just get the feeling, based on what we know of Kalani Sitake and what kind of person he is, that I think they kind of are stronger for this. Sometimes these things result in a stare down that nobody ever gets over, but I don't think that that's the case here. Am I right?
Might take a little time on the stare down.
Yeah.
Just because it got to the point where, I'm told assistants were looking at houses, $100 million on the table from Penn State. I mean, that's a program completely hard up and to try and find a coach. And they thought, I think Tuesday morning, they thought they had him, and had to throw some more money at him. But Kalani's never been about the money. I know it's crazy to say because there's so many coaches who are, but he wants to be compensated and treated fairly. But he wants his staff. I mean, BYU's staff is grossly underpaid. Talk about the coach being underpaid. According to Big 12 standards, I mean, next year Kalani was in line to be the 15th highest paid coach in a team of 16, and this takes care of that. And he's never said we've got to be the richest, we've got to have the most, but put my running backs coach at least in the lower to middle of the Big 12 compared to where he is now. And this, in theory, takes care of all of that. And so moving forward, they're in a much better spot to keep building on what they've got going on. And you guys talk about it. He's 22-3 in the last 2 years in this league. 22-3 for a team that was an independent for a dozen years and had to make up ground. That first year they went 5-7, lost their last 5 straight Big 12 games, and look what they've done since. And Penn State, and I'm sure there were other coaches too. I mean, everybody should have come calling that didn't have a good season this year, going, what are you doing that's doing that? So moving forward, they're in better shape. But, it could have been gone in an instant. That's kind of what I go back with. Life changes fast for all of us. It can change on the drive home after the show. And in football, when you think that it's just everything's rock steady and rolling, it can be gone in a flash. So I think Cougar Nation's relieved that the flash has passed and everyone's still here.
Yeah, and be careful, by the way, everybody driving on the way home tonight. But Dave, how much anxiety was there from Monday into Tuesday?
There was a lot, and probably more. And I asked Kalani, I said, "Did you sleep good last night?" He goes, "I did sleep good last night." Earlier in the week, not so much because it's so disruptive. And I think what caught him by surprise is they're in the middle of a season. And Lane Kiffin's move right for Ole Miss, right in the middle of big things happening for them, and these programs call and put pressure on a guy like Kalani to make a choice, and they make it really difficult to just say no, I'm staying here. Instead, it's if I stay here, this has got to be better. So I think there was when I pressed Kalani and how close he came to taking that job, and he kind of this and that. And I go, but really like this close? And he said, as close as you can get with not going is right where he was at. And that's in our culture of BYU football here, where there isn't that kind of volatility. That's hard for BYU fans to understand and be like, yeah, really? Or probably just using Penn State for leverage. He had leverage on both sides, and he stayed where his heart is, and it's here. And he didn't stay for the money. He would have left for Oregon a few years ago, if you remember, if it was about the money. But part of it's about the money, and part of it's about support financially for your staff. His football stadium's full. His team's winning. They're in the biggest games now. His recruiting class, I just saw from CBS ranking at number 20. That's the highest in program history. All roads lead to good things for BYU, but they had to keep their football coach.
Dave, it's funny that sometimes it does take these things to do that. But if you look around the country, there's 5 or 6 schools that have all announced that, hey, we're keeping this coach that the fans don't really want to keep.
Yeah.
But then they're kind of admitting that, well, we're going to give them more institutional support, that they cheaped out on them. BYU could have found themselves in a similar situation, except losing a coach that everybody loves because they were trying to do it on the cheap. And I think it takes smart coaches to realize, or coaches are starting to realize, look, I could say I want $8, $9, $10, $13 million. But if I'm the only guy getting money here, then we're probably going to lose more than we win. And the new era is here. So good on him for taking the opportunity to make it better for everyone around him.
I asked him why you care about your staff so much. A little, facetious question because I know him. But his answer was, hey, I don't make these calls. I don't run this play. I don't run that position group. I can't do all this by myself. I just decide whether or not we're going for it on fourth down and dance in front of the student body and have fun. And of course, he's much more involved in that, but that's his answer. And I truly believe he believes that Jay Hill is among the best defensive coordinators in the country, certainly in the Big 12. And Aaron Roderick has had a great year as offensive coordinator, calling plays for a true freshman quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go on down the line, receivers coach, offensive line coach. He knows that these guys are the reason they're 22-3, and he's the face of it. And it takes a special guy to go to bat for those guys, and then those guys work harder for the main guy when they see him doing that. And I think we'll see a tremendous effort on Saturday, just in the reaction of BYU's got the back of our coach has got our back, and the players love seeing that the coach is taken care of, and then they want to play harder for them. Now, if they get beat 30-0, I'll come back on next week for that part. But there's a pretty good vibe now, and I think Kalani is relieved. He hates being a distraction. It's just not his personality, but it became a big distraction as soon as he was asked the question on Monday during the Big 12 championship news conference of, hey, what's going on with this? Well, I want to deal with it after the season. There was no chance.
No
chance of that.
Yeah, you didn't want the distraction to become an issue that perhaps affects Texas Tech, as you said, might drill them again. But at least this is out. The reaction by the players at practice when he mentioned it. So what's the deal, and how true is it about the AD Santiago, and he wasn't behind this? Because he was at the press conference. What is the truth there?
You know, it's interesting, and I'll say it this way because we've seen it all over sports. When there's a new athletic director, that athletic director likes to have his people, right? And Brian Santiago was deeply involved in getting Kevin Young here, and Kalani's been here for 10 seasons, and so there might just be a natural strain of a new sheriff in town, and he has his vision of things. And certainly getting to this point at all is an indicator of, you know what, there were folks who saw things differently, whether it was just him and Kalani butting heads just to get to the point of, hey, I'm going to go play for those guys or coach for those guys. Clearly there was a challenge there. And they both said the right things at the news conference last night. Time will tell in that relationship. Bronco Mendenhall and Tom Homo had a different kind of relationship because Bronco was hired just before Tom was named athletic director. And to Bronco, his boss was the church leaders who did his interview and hired him. And that made a strain because the athletic director likes to be the boss of the athletic department. And so we saw that for 9 years or however long Bronco was here. He won 99 games, but it was strained the whole time for one reason or another. And maybe this is a little of that. They both need each other. And let's see moving forward if this is – because Kalani's not going anywhere for a long time, or so we think, right, in these coaching contracts and stuff.
Sure.
But we'll see how they move forward together. But the fact that we even got to this point is evidence of maybe a couple people with different visions for how they wanted football to go, and they're tied at the hip together now for a while. So hopefully they'll get that.
They have a game Saturday. It's 11 o'clock. We're going to be there. We're going to do a special pregame ourselves from 9 to 10:30 Central. Hope to see you there. But so they do have this game. Texas Tech rolled them up and turned them into a pretzel in that game in Lubbock. Do you think BYU needs to start fast, which of course always would help, but what are a couple of keys you think to Saturday?
Turnovers is number one. And BYU turned it over 3 times at Texas Tech, and that killed them. In a game that was 29-7, was 13-0 at halftime, and BYU had the ball coming out to start the third quarter. So it was a game where they weren't in it, but they were never out of it. And statistically, it was one-sided. You know, they had a hard time moving the ball. but BYU was within striking distance right till the fourth quarter. And they just, Bear had a couple of mistakes, and Parker Kingston dropped a punt, and that changed the mood of the game because it came early. And had they not turned that over, does BYU win that game? I don't know, but they've got the ball late in the game with a chance. And so I think that's the formula for this week. Interestingly, BYU hasn't turned the ball over since that game. And their defense has gathered a bunch of them. And that's how they routed TCU. They went back to Cincinnati, beat them straight up, and then beat Central Florida, got behind 14-0 on senior day, and then outscored them 41-7. And there was kind of a great separation of power there, but no turnovers. And they forced 2 of them. So that's the biggest one. Who's going to take care of the football? I think the second one is they do have to start faster. Can't get behind this Texas Tech team. They're legit. They're good. They're going to the playoff. I think the best thing for BYU, and there's a little lack of respect factor for BYU, not from the Big 12 and certainly not from Texas Tech. I mean, even the players shaking hands after the game on November 8th were saying, we'll see you in a few weeks, because they knew they were clearly the 2 best teams in the league. And that played out that way. But when you look at the college football playoff, and you guys were talking about it a few minutes ago, the disrespect for BYU is just blatant. And the only way to get into that playoff is to come knock down the front door. And if they do that by winning the game on Saturday, then the committee has to tell Notre Dame, Oklahoma, or Alabama, we don't have any room for you. You're out. Because Texas Tech's going to stay in. And so there's that. That's a motivation for BYU, is to not only win this game against a really good team who's ranked 4th, but to also finally force their hand into the playoff, because no one's inviting them and no one's looking for a way to include them. As ESPN's done their shows the last few weeks, they hardly even mention them. Mm-hmm. I think they think if we don't mention them, then they won't be there. But a win for BYU on Saturday, and they're there, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. This is as close as BYU's come to the college football playoff in history, and they got a great chance. So there's some extra motivation there. That and let's be honest, BYU's really good, and Texas Tech's really good. And whichever team misses a field goal or fumbles in the fourth quarter is going to lose that game. And it could be the Red Raiders just as easily as BYU. And the difference, I think, too, is BYU's playing to get in the playoff. Texas Tech's already there. Neither team has experience in this championship game. I think it's been since 1955 that Texas Tech won a conference championship. And for BYU, it's been since 2007. So they should both be nervous. And, man, I'm glad you guys are going to be live there, because it's sold out. And what an energy. And the Big 12 needs that. And they need to put on a good show before all those other games come on ABC and ESPN the rest of the day, and Fox.
Dave, I would throw one more key in there. Find a way to get Bear Bachmeier loose in the run game again, because it's when you watch BYU, it's not just Bear Bachmeier getting yards. I feel like for the defenses of the other teams, it's demoralizing a little bit, because he's so big and hard to tackle that if he has 65, 70 yards rushing in a game and picks up 5 key first downs because you couldn't get him down, I think it not only breaks you physically, but mentally, because of how, well, I can't tackle him now. I'm not going to tackle him when I'm tired 15 minutes from now. Like, I think that's a real key to their success.
That's an excellent point, because when they beat Utah, Bear ran right over them and broke their will. They had to deal with L.J. Martin. They had to deal with Chase Roberts, but they had to deal with Bear. And in the fourth quarter, they were done trying to tackle him. And that in a close game, Bear's legs were huge. In that first meeting with Texas Tech, Bear rushed for 11 yards on 12 carries, or 12 carries, 12 yards on 11 carries. One of those. He had that, but that was
not
it.
A lot.
That was it. Not a lot. And you're right. It loosens everybody up. And Bear loves to do it. He's like Taysom Hill, maybe a better thrower and not as fast and a little heavier, I think, than Taysom was. But Taysom used to always tell us, and even in the NFL, he'd say that, once I get past the defensive line, I'm the biggest guy on the field. And that's what was so alluring to running. And when Bear gets past the defensive line, he's at 6'2" and maybe 240. He's as big as the linebackers, except for Jacob Rodriguez. That guy's legit.
Yeah.
You've got to avoid him. And then those DBs, they don't want any part of that, especially in the fourth quarter. So, yes, Bear running the football just enough to cause some trouble opens up everything, and that play action. And I'll tell you the perfect example of that against UCF, it's 4th down and 3. I believe they're in the third quarter. They're going for it. They're at midfield, like the 46-yard line. So Bear's in the shotgun. LJ Martin's next to him. So the linebackers are like, Bear might run, LJ might run. They only need 3 yards. So they had to stay close to the line of scrimmage. He fakes it to LJ. He turns around, he sets his feet, and he hits Parker Kingston over the middle, who goes 46 yards for a touchdown. That window isn't there if the linebackers are playing their normal spot, but they're up close because they're afraid Bear's going to keep it. And that scenario works best for BYU's offense for sure.
Dave, unbelievable job. First of all, thank you. It's great to have you on. Glad it worked out for us. With the same day that you talked to Kalani, can't wait to see you Saturday. Really enjoy your work, and thanks for the insight throughout the week at BYU. Thank you again.
Hey, the Big 12's fortunate to have you guys. Nice job. Happy holidays, and let's have a fun postseason.
Absolutely. And Dave McCann or Kalani Sitake and Greg Wrubell and others are a great part of what, when we branched out, when the Big 12 added BYU, and even again, as I said, the year before when they were playing Baylor and Waco, some great people we've been able to get to know. Ty Detmer, obviously, we'd had on before. Riley Nelson, former quarterback. It's a great group that covers BYU. When we come back, we're going to look at National Signing Day for a little bit, a couple of nuggets, and then also we will break down the standings again. For those of you in the chat, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, hit the like button if you don't mind. And if you have not subscribed, please do, or go force somebody else to do it, or we'll find who they are. Thank you very much to Garrett Ross and Brandon Rowe and Andrew Valet. Craig is out today, hopefully back tomorrow. Paul Catalina with me, David Smoak, and this is 365 Sports. Brandon Rowe?
Baylor Club.
I knew that. I just wanted to make sure your microphone worked, and we did mic checks before the show today. The Baylor Club inside McLean Stadium off I-35 in Waco, and Nick Colwell, the general manager who came in right as the summer was winding down. I remember first meeting him because you never know. Mike Mosel's a great guy, but he's now in Birmingham. He ran the Baylor Club. Now it's Nick. Sat down with Nick. He's got great experience when it comes to running entertainment, like, for example, even like casinos and more. He now runs the Baylor Club. First thing he did was start to look at different things they wanted to renovate, and they did. It was a process, but they got it done. Kind of like trying to get a football team together. Then they changed the menu, and the menu was really good, and now it's even better for lunch and brunch and even dinner with the top chefs that they have. The amenities are fantastic. The view is great. You could be at the Baylor Club and you can look out and see I-35 and the Brazos River, that bridge right there, and just have. We do our annual academic all-stars banquet, the dinner, honoring student athletes in Central Texas there every year. It is quite a beautiful view. It's the Baylor Club. Memberships available. Tell them 365 Sports sent you inside McLean Stadium off I-35 in Waco.
I'm Camille Johnson with Camille Johnson Realtors. We specialize in selling residential real estate agent all across our community, and we love serving all types of families. We have been in business at Camille Johnson Realtors for almost 9 years, and I have been a residential real estate agent for almost 40 years. And we love our partnership with 365. So thank you for partnering with me, and thank you so much to all of my clients who have made our company a success.
No car payments for 90 days when you bring your auto loan home to Genco. Get 4.79% for 48 months and make no payments until 2026. Plus, get entered to win 3 months of no car payments. Bring your auto loan home to Genco. Lower your interest rate, save money, and no payments until 2026. For details, go to GencoFCU.org.
My money, my future, my credit union. Genco.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Man, the chat room, always entertaining. There are times when it's like a really high-level CEO, a convention of business owners and entrepreneurs, and there's times it's like a daycare. And I love it.
I think mostly it's a daycare.
No, well, there are some diapers that we have to change along the way. So here we go. Ole Miss. Oh, my. Remember, Dave Bartu told me in a text message yesterday, he'll join us in about 20 minutes, that Ole Miss was not going to drop, despite all the chatter about, well, they're losing their head coach, Jordan Travis, FSU, or whatever. And in fact, they're just fine. And on top of that, they do then, of course, get their offensive coordinator back. So nothing hurt them. How about this from Nicole Arbach? The Hunter Yurachek, who, God bless Mac Rhodes for putting Hunter Yurachek in a position of getting battered now. Know why anyone would ever want this job. Yurachek refers to the FSU 2023 situation. Paul, close your eyes, ears, and everything else in between. And says that the committee had a couple of games of data without Jordan Travis to look at when they eventually knocked them out. We don't have any way to evaluate what Ole Miss looks like, plays like without their head coach. Mentions, of course, both the coordinators are still, I thought about you. You're a wonderful young man, and you're wearing your FSU colors today.
I responded to this. Here's the data that they had. FSU won the games. They won them. Their defense shut down Florida and Louisville. Louisville recovered a fumble from Broad Glenn at the 7-yard line and didn't pee a drop.
Well,
the
there was a leakage.
So good. Like, what film do you need? Yes, the offense wouldn't have been great, but
yeah,
the
I know.
defense choked out people.
I love
Jared
it.
Verse.
I couldn't wait to put this up.
Verse
but let's
was
also
taking left tackles and chucking them into the quarterback.
Like Ndamukong Suh?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then you're like,
But this is about Ole Miss.
I know. It is about
you
Ole
feel
Miss.
better?
I'm
It's like
just saying
Craig and Luka Doncic.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
So
did anyone expect them to drop? Because Dave Bartu told me yesterday they would not.
Now with Charlie Weiss Jr. coming back, no. Because I do think had Charlie Weiss Jr. not been there and the whole offensive staff been gone and they're promoting people up who, are GAs to do those things, then maybe. But now that that's worked out, no. And look, he's right. They have no idea to know. Like they would just be doing it on an assumption. And so what they did with FSU in 2023 was they looked at the offense. It was abysmal with the quarterbacks that played once Jordan went down. So, yeah, I understand that, like, that's maybe an easier way to describe that. I just,
All right, I got a question.
I feel like the whole facts of the case are not out on there when they say things
Why
like
did
that.
Bruce Feldman use the F-bomb? Because now I got a question, and tell me I'm just being stupid, and that's fine because I can be. So Jordan Travis injured. Obviously, Florida State's offense not the same, but they're still undefeated. They get pushed aside. Then there were thoughts with Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin leaving that might nuke them. I think most people were hoping that we're trying to get in rather than really thought that was going to happen. Ohio State was on their third-string quarterback when Cardell Jones took over for Barnett. Barrett. And, I forgot the other quarterback that went down that same year. Oh, he's really good. They didn't get hit for that.
Nope.
Now, they won a Big Ten championship, but there was no guarantee you're in. Ohio State, pretty big logo. Hey, they won the national title, so any bitching, moaning, and arguing is out the window. But it does seem to be like piece by piece the way they look at that. So there we are with Ole Miss. Now, don't use it yet, Brandon. Our good friend Paxton. I see Jeff Ward's in the chat room, and, of course, there were others throughout the week that was it Clarence? There's a couple of really good, not a couple. We have some UT fans that watch this show, even though I think we probably bring them up quite a bit and probably talked about them too much on Monday. But there was hope. Dave Bartu told me yesterday that poop on the hope There was no way, no matter what the rankings last night came out as, that UT was ever going to get into the 12-team playoff this year. No matter the top 10 wins, no matter Ohio State or not, because no matter what, he knows the committee, he knows how they look at things, that the Florida loss, not the Ohio State loss, no matter what, even beating A&M, was not going to be enough for them to get inside the 12 when it was all said and done. And he was right. Now, Paxton was sending me odds. Oh, this is so brutal.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough.
There is an Oklahoma fan. They got a beer. Maybe that's a dark beer. For the A&M fan, the Texas Tech fan, and looking out from outside in the window, and they're laughing.
Yeah, well, I mean, this
is something that they normally would have come up with and probably did for 2 or 3 days with A&M.
Well, look, they beat Oklahoma and they beat A&M. So, they can hold that over their heads for the next 365 days or, between the games. They didn't play Tech this year, obviously. And I do think I have a couple of Longhorn friends, one of whom was texting that he really wanted to play Tech in the playoffs. And then we kind of sidebarred and we're like, dude, I don't know if you do. Like, I know you're confident, but I don't know if you really watched this Tech team play and the way that they are dispatching people in a way that Texas hasn't. And of course, since Texas has been in the SEC, he's kind of red-pilled and then everything that the SEC does is better no matter what, kind of a guy. And those people are out there. But it doesn't mean I love him any less. He was annoying before. He'll be annoying after. But I just the SEC has to figure out that it is not about your schedule. And I get that you say if we had played Rice and you want to hold this over everybody's head, just don't lose to the bad teams. Don't. Everyone else gets punished for losing to bad teams. The fact that you might have a couple more good teams on your schedule is better, but don't lose to the bad ones. It's that simple. Just don't do that, and you'll be fine. So that when you make this argument, you are maybe making an argument over seeding of, hey, we're 10-2, and we played Ohio State in non-conference, and Notre Dame's 10-2, and for some reason they're getting to host a game and we're not. Let's talk about that as opposed to we should be in. Don't worry about the fact that we lost to a team that fired their coach 2 weeks later. There are consequences. You live life with consequences. I understand the SEC. You live life with far less. You kind of have a fixer. You're like a billionaire's kid, who runs his car through a department store. But there are consequences when you lose to 4 and 8 teams.
Yeah, I saw a lot about not scheduling Ohio State, and I just saw Jeff Ward who mentioned cancel that game, cancel Michigan, cancel. No, that's kind of petty. I understand the feeling, but damn it. And by the way, to support UT or Ohio State or whoever plays those bangers, that's what we call them, right? Non-conference, not just conference games. I don't want to see those games go away, so maybe they need to tweak it a little bit. But this came down to the fact that by playing Ohio State and losing, that actually may have, now if they would have won, yeah, but they didn't. But by playing Ohio State and losing, Garrett, Paul, Craig's not here, anyone in the chat, did that not also keep them alive a little bit longer because of the loss they had was to Ohio State? Although the Florida loss was the one that was the venom.
Yeah.
By playing them, kept them even more propped up into this last week.
I think it's a bigger risk to stop playing those games if you're a team like Texas. I think more teams should play them if you think you're going to be good and if you're really all in. And then threatening the fans of college football and also threatening your own fans or propagandizing them to the point of, hey, well, we're just not going to play these games anymore because we won't get in the playoffs. Look, if you're 10-2, you're in. And if you don't lose to, just don't. Things can go a lot of different ways. The team they scheduled some teams at the beginning of the year a couple years ago when they thought they were pretty damn good that they thought they were going to beat, and then Maryland came in and beat them. So nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed at all. And the reward for beating Ohio State on the road at the beginning of the year, to me, far outweighs the risk of losing to them. Far outweighs it. Because if you do that, if you had won that game and then lost, like if they had won that game and say, still lost to Georgia and lost to Florida, then you can, like Alabama did with FSU. Alabama had enough wins to now cancel out their Florida State loss the first week of the year. Texas didn't have enough. They lost to Georgia too. They lost to Florida. That Ohio State game essentially was a wash no matter what. And that's what canceled it out. I mean, and also I think that they get too caught up in the, like, I know there's not eye test, but like strength of record and all those different things and all the factors that go in. They did not play well against Kentucky, against
Mississippi
State,
yep.
And they did not play well against Georgia. And so if I'm on the committee and I'm making decisions, I'm going to say, like, yes, they did beat a couple of playoff teams, but they also lost to a couple playoff teams.
Yeah. S. Michael DeHart, by the way, and Paxton and Jeff and all the others, we do love you. It has been a nice couple of years. Really, it was a good year this year for UT, but not when you were ranked preseason number one, and it didn't work out. They tried to pull themselves out of a ditch. Thought they may have done that with a win on Saturday, but not enough. Paxton, S. Michael DeHart, what did you say here? You are a very bad person. I know he's a great dude. We're sending Paxton some Paxil and Xanax to calm his nerves. And then somebody else mentioned Paxton sounds like beer time. And Paxton said, very close. Very close. I don't know. I know a lot of UT fans. In fact, one of my favorite guys, Blake Browder, lifelong UT fan, huge UT fan, went there, has been on the road to go watch him. I've seen him a couple of times, text me a few things. It was so close. And you know what? Here's one of the things that's got to be excruciating. One, not getting in, but also this. UT has usually gotten the benefit of the doubt on some of these things. Now, I'm not saying the playoff because they haven't been involved in that very often, but they got kind of yanked in 2008 with that Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Texas. They did get in the last 2 years. They were really good, got to the semifinals. And I always thought that maybe that was one of those that the committee would go, shit, they were maybe even happy that they beat the Aggies. The Aggies were already in, but you're wondering, like, man, we get UT in there, and it's not going to work out.
Well, and here's the other thing that UT has to contend with outside of their control at all is just the rules of the playoff is that the top 5 highest ranked conference champions have to get in, and 2 of those are going to come from behind you. So if you're already at the bottom, if you were, I mean, look, BYU is going to have this problem. If they lose, Miami and Notre Dame also have to worry about this a little bit or a lot of bit, depending on where that falls next week. Alabama, if they lose, might even have to worry about it at 10-3, although I don't think so.
No, I think that's what I think with them flipping.
Yeah. But if you've got James Madison, Tulane, or North Texas, that one of those 3 teams is going to be in this thing. One of those 3 is going to be in it. And then if Duke wins, then there's a chance that 2 of those 3, or that Duke is going to get in. Virginia's going to get in or Duke's going to get in. So there's a spot that's gone. The group of 5, there's a spot that's gone. You aren't going to get in over Notre Dame. So there's a spot that's gone. And you aren't going to get in over the SEC championship loser. So the only way that you could possibly get in is if something tragic happened in the other leagues. So even with the Florida loss and the Ohio, like that scheduling at 9-3, the rules of the playoff prevent you from getting there. Right?
Yeah,
now.
there are, and sometimes it's almost like how you see those who look at certain counties in an election, cities, and how the trends are going on how, and there's like 98% of the vote is not even in. They just kind of know. Jeff Ward, by the way, forget beer. My whiskey bottle is already open.
Oh,
glad you guys can have fun with it. And we love you all, no matter your fan base or your favorite teams.
Jeff's a friend of mine. He's texting me directly as well. So
you're not allowed to do that twice. You can't. Yeah. So there we are with a lot of that. Is anyone relieved where we are today? Are you relieved that we are where we? Who would not be relieved? I would think, all right, so let's go to USF and Alabama. They were going to play, right? Here's this is what, Sark, Del Conte, I even saw John Bianco, who's an unbelievable information media relations guy. Alabama USF, this was yesterday, moving their game next year to 2032. They may never even get there. Crimson Tide replaces USF with UT Chattanooga. They are a great name, Moccasins, and adds home game with East Carolina in 26. Now, this is what a lot of people are going to start doing. I don't like it. I don't want UT to not play Ohio State or Tennessee or Notre Dame or Michigan or whoever it is. I don't want those games to go away, so college football needs to somehow figure that out.
But that's not one of these games. USF isn't a Power 4 team. They just rescheduled this game for later. So,
but
Chattanooga's a G6 team, right?
Yeah.
But East Carolina is a G6. Their schedule is other than, somebody told them the USF was going to hire Brian Hartline and F that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. But, and look, Brian Hartline hasn't head coached a game in his life yet, so we have no idea. That would be very early on against what's going to be likely a pretty darn good team next year, too. So, yeah, this. They say this, and everybody freaked out about this. But if you had told me that Alabama's canceling their home and home against, say, USC, then I'd be like, oh, that's nonsense. Georgia and Oregon were supposed to play, not anymore.
Well,
no, that's not not what happened here.
The SEC adds a conference game, right? They're going to add to get to 9, and so there were thoughts they would drop some of the non-conference games. I love the fact UT, and I've said this many times before, they will play a damn good team. Sometimes you get a schedule and a team's just down a little bit. Like one year, if it's Notre Dame, they're not very good, or maybe it's Tennessee or whatever. But I don't want them to stop doing that because I enjoy those games. And you know what? They're really good at playing those games. But we'll see what happens. I think more than anything else, it was a really good PR campaign. I think UT's media, those who cover them, and UT in general, they always have a very strong push when it comes to trying to get their point across, and they've done that. It's not going to work in this particular occasion, and I surely don't think that they're going to drop Ohio State because of it next year. So, last one, the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, weekly winner, Brad Jackson. How many of you know who he is? You should. She's put up huge numbers for Texas State and G.J. Kinney. Brad Jackson is the quarterback at Texas State, and they've ended the year on a streak to get bowl eligible, just like UTSA did at Jeff Traylor. So Brad Jackson, congratulations. He's had a big year for Texas State and the quarterback under a friendly quarterback system of G.J. Kinney. We've done pretty much everything. Dave McCann was great. Gave us some big-time insight. When we come back, Dave Bartu. I don't know if he's wearing his Oregon beanie. Doesn't matter. Not sure if he's walking the dog or he's sitting in his room, but he's about to tell us why in the hell Alabama Notre Dame flipped. Are they protecting Alabama? What does that mean for Notre Dame? Can BYU get in if they don't win? And why were they not on the graphics that included Miami, Notre Dame, and Alabama? Dave Bartu with True Serum. He's next. This is 365 Sports.
Waco Regional
Tennis and Fitness. Brandon Rowe was there earlier today. No, it was a couple of days ago. He went and took a drone shot of and how beautiful is what they have, that beautiful building. And in the back, they've got all of those tennis courts, championship center court, and then, of course, they've got a bunch of pickleball courts as well. And then when you walk in the door, which I did earlier today to get in a workout, had a busy day with a couple of press conferences and other, so I got to get up even earlier. And I'm starting to do that more often anyway. And I did the Stairmaster for a little bit. And then I did some weights. I even did bench, although I've never really been able to bench very often because of my left shoulder. But I got a good workout in every day, as many times as I can. It was cold as hell outside, but I said, I got to go. Get ready for the day. You can get yourself fit. You can get yourself in shape. They have personal trainers. They have group exercise classes. It's in Waco, across from all of those ballparks. The Double R ballparks, and right next to Hawaiian Falls. Memberships would be a great stocking stuffer. Think about that for a 1-year membership or 3 months. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
You don't want to miss our best price deals during the Black Friday sales event at Allen Samuels. This month, you can save big on the truck you've been looking for, like the new Rams. Designed to be durable, functional, and stylish, Ram trucks give you that first-class feel. With premium options like luxurious leather trim seating, surround view cameras, and more. Shop our great selection in-store or online today. Allen Samuels in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code SPORTS365 to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code SPORTS365. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 and up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 and up, and in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and must be present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details.
Serving Central Texas since 1889, TFNB Your Bank for Life takes pride in being more than a bank. TFNB, we remain committed to these principles. If you value them too, come join us. TFNB, your bank for life.
With over 25 years of excellence in IT, Carrion Solutions is your trusted technology partner. From managed IT services to cutting-edge cybersecurity, our expert team delivers tailored solutions that drive success. Our portfolio includes products such as Veeam, Bitdefender, Microsoft, Cisco, and Fortinet. Call David Carrion and his team of experts. Call 888-522-2221 or visit us at carrionsolutions.com.
This is 365 Sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Jeff Ward sending me in the chat. He's been very active today. Some who are exhilarated, feeling pretty good. It has nothing to do with that National Signing Day. Maybe it does, but Jeff Ward, Smokey, I apologize to Paul. Wasn't fair to him.
No, you're not the only person who texts me during the show.
All right. Well,
I have a wife too.
Yeah. You do?
Yeah. And
did they win last night?
No.
Kansas lost to UConn?
It was a close game.
No,
it was close.
No cigar.
Yeah, it was a close game, but I knew. So like we were about to go to bed, and like she was about to fall asleep, and there was like a minute left in the game, and she had, stopped following it or watching it on her phone, and I said, you don't wait like a minute, and sometimes as a fan before, like I'm a fan by marriage and health reasons. But, Soki, when you watch Nebraska, you watch a team, like,
why do you have to bring them up?
But when it's close and it's your team, they're not. I can see how they're playing. They're not going to do this right now. This is over. She knew it. She just straight up and down knew it. And she's like, no. Like, well, and I didn't want to say out loud, you're only down by 3. And she's like, yeah, it's not tonight.
Yeah, no, I know as soon as whoever Nebraska kicks off against or receives, the game's over. I already know what they're going to do. Can't stop it. Okay. Now, and last night, it was KU losing to UConn 61-56. Duke beat Florida 67-66 in another great game there. We are now joined by jiu-jitsu extraordinaire. We have a jiu-jitsu. That's Andrew Valet, but I just wanted to. Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, the guru of the college football rankings. He had sent me all sorts of good nuggets yesterday, said what was going to happen, but he wasn't really expecting Alabama and Notre Dame to flip. Yeah, that's okay.
There he is.
There you are. God, you got that beanie on again. You look great. Oh, be careful. He might. No,
we got a little bit of technical difficulty here today, man.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you're a little flustered. That's
a little bit of technical difficulty.
Well, do you want to walk around or do you want to call?
Oh, I am.
Okay.
I'm pretty PO'd right now. Thanks, Zipley.
What the hell, Zipley?
I don't know.
Is that
Go
like
ahead,
Spectrum?
just go ahead and
I'm trying to settle in here. Is that any better?
Okay.
Yeah, that's better, man. You look great. The beanie looks fantastic.
It's my awful internet service.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you live in Canada. So let me ask you this: why did they flip Alabama and Notre Dame?
Strength of schedule, it dropped down. It was a razor's edge last week, and what really happened here, the A&M loss actually enabled them, I believe, by the numbers to drop them down. We had a really big discussion about this yesterday in the morning about what was going to happen, and it was kind of either way, and so it actually was not a surprise by the numbers. Personally, I was just like, wow, everybody won. But when you get right down to the nitty gritty with it, is Alabama's strength of schedule picked up a little bit with Auburn, whereas Stanford plus the A&M loss, just that much. I mean, there's not much separating them now. And so, but I don't think it matters. I honestly don't think it matters in the end, because if Alabama wins, they're in and they're moving up. Okay. And if BYU gets crushed by Texas Tech, as we all expect, BYU is out and Miami is out. I think the big question is, if Georgia wins and Tex wins, BYU and Alabama, they're both out. Miami is in, and Notre Dame is going to Norman, Oklahoma.
Wait a minute. Alabama can still be left out? Because that was one of the thoughts about. Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think they should be. 3 losses? Dude, I don't want no 3-loss teams in my playoffs.
Well,
you had your shot.
Yeah, Texas fans are gonna come find
you.
But
Shut up, Texas. You know what's funny as hell? You know what's funny as hell?
God.
It's Sarkisian's bitching about my non-conference schedule. No, we ran the numbers. You don't lose to Florida, you're in. So what? So really, what you should be complaining about is you're going to 9 conference games next year. It's not the non-conference. Miami, we're not going to schedule Notre Dame anymore. That's your only win worth a damn. You need them. Shut up. Right? It's really easy. Win your games. Quit your bitching. You had your path. You blew it. Time to move on.
Here's Jeff Ward. Who is this guy? He nails every year for as long as they've done it, the college football playoff ranking.
Dave, by the way, if you have merch at the Matrix there, you should have "Win Your Games, Quit Your Bitchin" as a t-shirt available.
Seriously. You know, that Vanderbilt comes out with their data-driven, why we should be. Yeah, that's cute, and I like it, right? I mean, of all the teams that I wish were in, it would be Vanderbilt and Diego's offense, okay? Because as soon as he walks off the field for the last time, they're immediately bowl ineligible, okay? So I would love to see that offense in the playoffs. But you know something? You didn't get it done, right? Everybody has an equal path 0-0. And to complain about it at the end when everybody knows how this works, right? The only reason you don't know how it works is because you refuse to use your brain or you lack the mental capacity to have literacy and evolution. It's there. Stop complaining about it. We've had it for 12 years. It's the same system it ever was. So, I do think there is a strong possibility Alabama gets gone if they lose.
Well, that would be an actual, I think, good thing for the playoff if a team, because right now, and look, there shouldn't be for Ohio State and Indiana, but if you look at Tech and BYU, and you look at Georgia and Alabama, like the SEC champion or loser appears to have no consequence, but the Big 12 does, and BYU already has, some numbers that compare to Notre Dame favorably. So they're being given a different standard of, okay, SEC championship game, you're fine. Big 12 championship game, this is not the ACC where they've got bigger problems that I'll ask you about in a second, but like that different standard should not apply.
Let me ask you a question. Right. Now, see, people have asked me this question. Dave, if you were on the committee, would you bounce teams down? No, I wouldn't. Alabama would be locked in where they're at because I do not believe it's fair, level playing field wise, that an Oklahoma or a Oregon or a Notre Dame could sit at home and not have the opportunity to lose, not have the opportunity to get hurt and stay healthy. Okay. So I would say all you can do is move up or stay in. So right now our 10's done, right? That's it. No more. The difficulty then though becomes BYU gets in. Does Texas Tech get bounced out? I believe that's a playoff game. I believe loser goes home in that game no matter what happens, even though I think Texas Tech is going to obliterate those guys. So that's my thought process, but yeah, there's a different measure. Let me ask you guys something. If the Big Ten, who's the worst recruiter you can think of in the Big Ten? Northwestern?
Yeah,
probably.
Right now it's Penn State.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah.
No, but something. I mean, who's the worst recruiter in the Big 12?
Right now it's Baylor.
UCF?
Yeah,
Baylor.
Probably.
Right now.
Yeah.
But imagine right now that UCF or Houston or Cincinnati has the best offense in the Big 12. What would you think of the Big 12? Sucks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, honestly. Yeah,
right.
Being honest,
right. If Cincinnati or Houston had the best defense in the Big 12, what if Rutgers or Northwestern had the best defense, better than Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, all those teams? You'd say the Big 10 sucks. It's down, right? So why does the SEC get a pass when their worst recruiter has the number 3 offense in the entire country and the number 1 offense in the SEC? Dave, measuring stick, right?
Nope. Yep. I did not think Alabama could get knocked out, but you're saying they can. Did you just say that if Tech doesn't beat BYU, they could be out?
Sure. Yeah. Inside the numbers, they could be out as well. They don't have it. Right. I mean, it's a 2-loss team. It's a 2-loss team without a strength of schedule, without a strong strength of record. And so they have the game control. But you look at the numbers, it is very, 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 very tight. I don't believe Alabama is locked in with that bad loss. Again, remember what I said about Texas. You take away Florida, they're in. You take away Ohio State, they're still on the outside. That bad loss basically counts double. Alabama has one too. In fact, the only 2 bad losses in the top 15 belong to the SEC. So, when you look at these things and you look at the numbers, understand that the differences I'm talking about are razor thin. Notre Dame and Alabama is this close in the numbers. I mean, it is just stacked in there like cordwood. Okay, so Texas Tech loses. It's going to be razor thin. Alabama loses. It's going to be razor thin. Okay. BYU obviously is already out, so they're out. And so there are very, 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 very tiny margins. I do not discount the Big 12 title game, winner in, loser out. I do not discount Alabama being out if they lose. And I think probably the biggest surprise I would have is if Alabama and BYU lose and they're both out, Miami still doesn't get the head-to-head bump over Notre Dame, even if they're 9-10.
Okay, so the ACC has a championship game problem this year, and that they've got Virginia at 10-2, who's not played. I mean, they got the benefit. They're like Indiana, like they got the benefit of their schedule and they played well, and they're a fun offense and all of that. Yep. But they also have Duke at 7-5, and that happened because of a lot of their tiebreakers. Should the ACC and some of these leagues that have similar tiebreakers look at that so that you don't have the literal best team in your league with the same record as one of the teams in there sitting out because of tiebreakers that go down to the 9th or 10th one?
I think all you can do then is go to the playoff rankings. Who's ranked higher, right? I mean, if that was it, then it would be Miami and Virginia. And I'll tell you right now, we ran the numbers on that too. If Duke wins and JMU wins, it ain't going to be Duke.
Yeah, I mean, when it shouldn't, they've lost 5 games. I mean, it's they.
Yep. They're out.
Do you think that the ACC should just, or they should just, do they just simplify it and then like have a nuclear option? Because this, to me, a convoluted tiebreaker and keeping your best team potentially out because of your rules, not the CFP's rules, because of your rules, seems kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, it is, and it won't matter when Virginia beats Duke, right? But remember when you make changes, it causes ripples, and it's yeah.
No, go ahead. You had a pregnant pause there, and
I was just going to say, if the ACC makes a change, it's going to cause a ripple, and it's going to affect you somehow. The SEC is making a change, 9 conference games. It is going to cause a ripple. How it's going to affect everybody, we don't know, but it will cause a ripple. Things that every time you tweak it, something new pops up. Have you noticed that in the last 12, 15, 20 years? Every time we tweak it, the next year, 2 years, 3 years, it's like, oh, we didn't really plan ahead for that one. That kind of sucks, right?
Yeah.
And so every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
So BYU's 11-1. I want to ask you a question. Let's say they, for whatever reason, they were 11-1 but didn't play in the Big 12 championship game. Would they be in?
Well, yeah, probably. If Alabama loses, Alabama gets bumped out and BYU's in.
If they didn't play and lose to
so,
Tech.
Yes. So, but that's their playoff game. Everybody says, hey, I want 16 teams. I want 24 teams. Oh, you got it, right? BYU and Texas Tech, that's a playoff game. Alabama, Georgia, that's a playoff game. You look back during the regular season, all these close games. Texas, Florida, that wasn't quite a playoff game. Ohio State, Texas was. Texas wins that thing. Boom. They're in the top 10. Right. So we get a lot of playoff games, and there's a lot more at stake this week than I think a lot of people are taking for granted. In particular, the Alabama loses and they're in. Man, I just don't buy that right now with that bad loss to Florida State.
Now, and that was a long time ago, but if Texas is going to get dinged for Florida, then absolutely Alabama should be dinged for what happened with Florida State, no matter when it was played. Dave, these are for the fans who have never seen the segment with you, and a lot of them are learning about you have opinions, but you're going off of historical data, analytics, and all the things that you see that they're doing when they get in those meetings. Do brand names matter?
I don't believe they do. I just go by the numbers. You look at our projections off of the numbers this week. And I mean, I texted somebody Monday night saying Texas A&M to 7. Okay. I'm not going to say who I texted that to, but that's exactly where the numbers matched up with it.
Yep.
And you got 13 guesses who the text went to. So, right. So that didn't surprise Notre Dame, Alabama didn't surprise. It didn't. I would say the biggest surprise is pushing Texas above Vanderbilt. I mean,
but they beat Vanderbilt.
That's the only one that really they did, but you know, it almost felt like that was more for show than anything else. But everything else was pretty much by the book. I don't think the brands matter. I do not believe that the AP top 25, how teams are ranked to begin with, matters at all. These things just play out by the numbers year in and year out. There's only two things that change: the narrative of the chair, which is a word salad every week, and then the interpretation of that word salad by a crazy media looking for clicks.
So
that's
Dave,
it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
I don't wait a minute. We're not crazy.
Yeah, no, we are.
We're the only sane people here. That's why we have you on to be crazy.
Okay, so you ever see Dave? Like, here he's up in the woods in Oregon with a beanie on. He's actually the sane one, and those of us like it's kind of flipped. So, and what Dave is confirming here is what most of the saner people in the media have said, that the first however many weeks of the CFP show is a television show. Because if it was just data driven, Hunter Yurachek goes out there and go, here are the numbers.
Yep.
And here's how it breaks down. And then, you can go download the PDF at ESPN.com that shows you all the different things and how it breaks down and how Notre Dame compares to BYU and how this is here and there. And then he doesn't have to say things like, well, it would be easier to pick head to head if they were back to back in the rankings. Bro, you make the rankings the people, so again, just say the numbers. But if you did that, then there would be no show. There would just be not a show. It would just be like, hey, here it is.
And then they wouldn't have Allstate or whoever sponsoring it. Yeah.
Right. There wouldn't be interest. There wouldn't be controversy, right? We gotta be able to talk about things. That's why we have AP top 25s in the preseason, so we can have discussions, so it's all good. It's all fun. But I think for the most part, it is very much by the book. And I think there's a lot of football left in this season.
So BYU, we mentioned them. You mentioned Alabama. I think we've covered everybody. What is the one scenario then if Miami can get in? Or is there one?
I think Alabama. Yeah, I think Alabama and BYU lose, and Miami slides up to 10. I think that's it. All right, and then they go on the road to face number 7.
A&M.
Who's number 7?
7's A&M.
Right. Seven's A&M, and Notre Dame goes to Norman.
Ooh,
right? That would be that's how I see it.
Logos don't matter. Brands don't matter. A lot of people are going to disagree with you there, but you did. I don't know. I think I intercepted a text about A&M being 7th. And a lot of people didn't believe me. I mean, I'm not saying you're the one that sent me that text, but you did send the text, and it might have been to me. But you kind of hit that nail on the head. You even said Ole Miss was not going to drop. You have nailed everything. And I know people still want to argue with you because the fans are passionate.
I know I tweeted.
Yeah,
they are. And I know I tweeted yesterday afternoon.
That's where I saw it. It wasn't
I know
a text
that's
from
out
you
there in the
personally.
ether.
Yeah.
No. I sent it to.
A&M should be but they should be. So they were 4th. They lost. The other teams that were behind them didn't. They lost against their second best opponent of the entire year. I mean, that should shock no one at all that happened.
No,
A&M does. Yeah,
no.
Forget the analytics.
And they don't have a good defense.
What do you say?
They don't have a good defense.
No,
I got a story to tell you about A&M fans and analytics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to do that next week?
No, do that now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No.
You want me to do it right now?
Yes, I do.
We got a large.
So I was tweeting. This is funny as hell, right? So I was tweeting about how A&M doesn't have a championship level defense, and it's one of the worst units in the playoffs. And I got so much crap from an A&M fan, right? Texts, DMs, everything, like nothing I've ever seen, to the point that it pissed me off. And I spent nearly 72 hours every waking moment I could breaking down every nuance in Texas A&M's offense, everything that Colin Klein has done, every play, every situation, every down, every field position, every score, everything I could find. It was 5 different reports of everything A&M has ever done this year. And I got it done by last Sunday, 6 days before the Texas and A&M game. And I emailed it to everybody I knew in Texas because I was so mad at A&M fans.
Well,
they have this stat that they're really good.
They're like 16th in the country in total defense, but it doesn't seem to make sense.
They had this streak on third downs. It was unbelievable where they were getting teams off the field because the pass rush was going well. But if you watch the games, they're a defense that is very good at making up for a mistake. So, like, they have that, and then, like, they'll have Cassius Howell come and make a sack, and then a team has to kick a field goal instead of getting a touchdown. But if they didn't have Cassius Howell, then that stat's completely different. Like, it's kind of like one of those, oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, there's some brands like Notre Dame that people still feel like they're propped up, but UT is out.
When you look at the advanced report on them, you're right. It's high risk, high reward defense. Right? They gamble a lot, and they give up a lot of explosiveness. They give up a lot of big plays. They exchange havoc for explosiveness opportunity for the other team. So their difficulty is, by the numbers, is facing somebody that has the ability to block that havoc and has these skill positions on the outside to exploit the one-on-one weaknesses. That's their give and take. Indiana's the same way too. Indiana just does it a lot better. They're a lot more conditioned with it. But the Bateman defense is high havoc, high risk. And so when you start doing that against better and better teams that can block your havoc and have elite athleticism on the edges and a quarterback that can get it to them, that's what's going to get them beat. The other thing is explosiveness in the run game. A&M, the two teams I would say that the team that they don't want to face in the playoffs is going to be Oregon, because their run game efficiency, their run game explosiveness matches up very well with the high havoc, high risk defense of A&M. But overall, it's not even top 50 in scoring efficiency, and it's one of the worst individual units in the playoffs this year.
Man, love you. Appreciate it. So glad we got to know each other. By the way, for those who are in Texas, and he's got some stuff, high school football things he's going to send to me that I'm going to pass out to all the high school coaches, that I can click a button and send it to about 1,000 coaches in the area in the state. And I'll do that too. Look forward to that, Dave. I know you're writing a story. Thank you, sir, for breaking it down.
And something new on my website.
What's that?
Yep.
What did he say?
There's something new on the website.
I was going to say I posted analysis of college football game management. Go to my website. It's in the articles. It tells you all the data you need to know about managing games and the value of the middle 8 at the NFL level and at the FBS level.
We will. I'm gonna post that, but I need them to go subscribe to your page, CFBmatrix.com. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. The Oregon Beanie.
Take it easy.
Are 5. We'll see Dave. Hey, by the way, stop for a second. Are we going to be able to get you on Monday because it's the day after the release or not?
Oh, yeah. I'll be around.
We're going to have to do Monday.
Anytime.
Well, you're the best. Okay, I'm glad I asked you that. So Monday we'll have him the day after the final release, which comes up, of course, on Sunday. Dave Bartu, College Football Matrix, with us on 365 Sports. All right. That was fun. Yeah. Brandon, Andrew, and Garrett, that was fun. You guys are not listening to it. How do you produce the show if you're not paying attention?
I think they are.
There's a few people that are upset because the Dragon's not here today. He will be back. His voice, you could remember Monday was
He was yesterday. It was fading.
You could tell he was fading. You got to be a grinder in this business. You got to be here. I not one time, unless I've had surgery on every part of my body, do I miss because I'm sick. Not doing it. All right, now, what do we have now? Well, Zach Gelb. Around the corner, Infinity Sports Network. His thoughts, he's a college football analyst too, but he also does a lot with the NFL. We'll discuss it and ask him, what in the hell, Zach Gelb, is going on at Penn State? This is 365 Sports. Ideal, MRI.com, Dr. Rob Maxey. In fact, have we, right here behind me in the corner, Ideal MRI, are we working on that logo to help make sure it's better? There we are.
It's been up on the screen several times.
Yeah, okay, good. And so, and there's that North Star Funding Partners, even though I'm talking Ideal, which is Kim Coulter, who provides our college football pick'em too. IdealMRI.com. I have been to their business a couple of different times. One time I dropped off a big box of a bunch of food for them just to say thank you. But I've been in their imaging machine, the MRI machine, 4 times. Once to check my lower back, twice to check my cervical, upper spine, and then once to check my abdomen because, well, when my brother went through all of what he went through, and golly, I miss Robert with his prostate cancer. You can have your prostate removed, or you can look at what else is going on inside your abdomen. They could also find if there's something that shouldn't be there. And otherwise, the good news is what's everything where it's supposed to be. I've had it on my my lower back actually twice because it was over a certain amount of time. It never cost me more than $497. It never will. I say never. I don't know if they'll ever, they have not raised that price in 10 years since they opened up their doors. And it's state-of-the-art imaging machine. Let me make sure you understand. Even though the price is just $497, the imaging machine is priceless, how good it is. And the techs and specialists are great. You get the MRI, they'll put it in the portal, they'll send it to your doctor who can look it up as well, and to you too. In fact, I've walked out of there a couple of different times with a disc with the images that I can look at myself. IdealMRI.com in the Central Texas marketplace off I-35 in Waco.
Established in 2007 and independently owned, Alliance Bank Central Texas is committed to helping families and businesses meet their financial goals. From their tellers to their board of directors, they know the importance of superior service and competitive products. Customers have confidence knowing that their financial needs are in good hands. It's your bank, Alliance Bank Central Texas, with 2 Waco locations, 4721 Bosque Boulevard and 191 Archway Drive on Highway 84, and at alliancebanktexas.com. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears.
Have you heard of the new IRA? The new IRA, Insured Retirement Advantage, is a solution for high-income individuals and business owners who want to grow and protect their wealth without locking up capital or taking unnecessary risks. If you're an asset manager or a licensed insurance agent looking to provide your clients with guaranteed tax-free retirement income and legacy protection, the new IRA Insured Retirement Advantage is an option you need to know more about and is only available exclusively from North Star Funding Partners. For more information, go to northstarfundingpartners.com and tell them 365 Sports sent you.
Ready to take your business to the next level? Carrion Solutions has got you covered. We deliver world-class IT consulting, including Quest On Demand and Migration Manager, M365 and Exchange migrations, Active Directory assessments, security hardening, and Windows Server upgrades. Our experts specialize in consulting, monitoring, support, and managed IT services. We promise vision, professionalism, and unbeatable value. Satisfaction guaranteed. If you're not happy, we make it right. Remember the name Carrion Solutions. For more info, email sales@carrionsolutions.com or visit carrionsolutions.com. That's CARRION solutions.com. Carrion Solutions IT success guaranteed.
This is Richard Carr, and it's hard to believe, but 2025 marks our 26th year in the car business. I want to thank you for your support over the last 26 years. As a locally owned business, our customers in Central Texas community are also friends and neighbors. If you haven't been by lately, I invite you to come in and experience our amazing lineup of Buick, GMC, and Cadillac vehicles. Our goal is to make you feel like more than just a customer, but as a valued neighbor. Let us show you why we are people you can count on at Richard Carr, Buick, GMC, Cadillac.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Zach Gelb, when he does his show on Infinity Sports Network, we've known Zach since back when we learned of a name named Matt Rule in 2016, when he replaced Jim Grove after the Art Briles situation, and we've known him ever since. He's all around, knows all the sports. All right, let's start with college football, young man. You're what in the hell's going on at Penn State?
Oh, boy. Well, they had a list of like 4 or 5 guys that they wanted. Rule said no. Signetti said no. A few other guys they thought they could get, they said no. And I always said this because I covered Pat Kraft, the athletic director at Temple. And I remember covering the team when they went through the search for Jeff Collins. They went through the search for Manny Diaz. It was always very quiet. Pat is close to the vest. He doesn't talk to anybody in these coaching searches. And then the name emerges like a day or two before the actual hire. And it's like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, but it seems like a good hire. So when Kalani Sitake emerged on Monday, I'm saying, there you go. Like, no one would have thought that before that this move was going to be made. But then with the crumble cookie and the Mormons, they kept him at BYU. So now I woke up this morning and I've been talking to a few people, and I was basically told it's probably Brian Daboll or Jeff Brom is going to be between the decision. If not, maybe it's a guy on an NFL staff currently that has some ties to someone at Penn State or ties to Penn State in some capacity. I did a Sports Minute that airs around the country, a few hours ago, and this was before even Jeff Brom was announced he was staying, and I said, I think it's going to be Brian Daboll. So my guess right now is it's Brian Daboll, but let's be real, who the F knows at this point?
Yep.
How do you believe any, like Todd McShay said that Jimmy Sexton has it out for Penn State, which, I mean, he can. I mean, he could, like, it's not good, like, it's maybe not the best business decision, but it's one school and he can slam down his power fist like that. But is it that, or is it also that, like, okay, they missed in the first couple guys, and then some of the rest of them are like, man, you just fired a dude who's 9-10 wins. I don't know.
It's still a good job. Like, you look at their schedule next year, ironically, the schedule's actually perfectly built for James Franklin because there's not a lot of big-time opponents on it, and that's when that guy just urinates down his leg. and honestly, I think Franklin landing at Virginia Tech is better for him. Like, he's not winning a national championship in the Big Ten. He's not winning a national championship in the SEC. I'm not saying he's going to go win one in the ACC, but if you go win your 8 to 10 games a season at Virginia Tech and you win an ACC championship game here or there, you'll be a legend at that school. So, I don't buy. I think the Sexton thing makes for good sports talk radio and makes for good podcasts, but his client still got a lot of money for Penn State. He got a lot of money for Virginia Tech. And you're going to tell me you're not going to let another client get more money or get a better job because you're upset in how they handled the whole James Franklin thing? 2 things could be true. It was time for Penn State to move off of James Franklin, and also this coaching search for the next guy has been a disaster. Maybe it ends up being Terry Smith, who is the interim. I still sit here and I say, I call Kenny Dillingham right now and just give him whatever he wants. That's what I would do. But this is messy right now. And I think, I don't know how much the human emotion factors into this, but Pat Kraft went after a lot of guys that, had their current job at their current alma mater. And that's why it's ironic he couldn't get Rule, because the guy's his best friend, and also his alma mater is Penn State. So the whole thing's been a little bit messy. And I think they had 4 or 5 guys that they could get, and they were surprised that those guys said no.
I can call Matt right now in a conference call with you and convince him if he needs to find an easier job.
No, you can't. He would not. he would not take the Penn State job because he could have got it and he said no. You know what, Smokey, be a little bit more positive, all right? Nebraska won the bowl games the last 2 years.
They have. Oh, yeah, they have. They have. But I'm telling you, they got. I'm not going to use the word. It's not going to work. I'm not happy. But let's get. You're right. Penn State.
You shouldn't be happy right now.
Penn State does not have Ohio State on their schedule. With their luck, USC is going to be much better. So is Washington, and then Wisconsin will turn it around.
Well, here's the other thing, too.
No Oregon either,
It will not be Bob Chesney. I know they were interested in Chesney. That UCLA deal is done. Okay. I know some people said, maybe they'll go back to Chesney. They'll get him. The ink isn't dry on the contract. I'm told that will not be happening. He is locked in at UCLA.
Good for him. I hope he is. Zach Gelb with us on Wednesdays at 5 with 365 Sports.
They're obviously not going to have a good recruiting class after today. I mean, they've fallen all the way. They're in the hundreds right now because nobody knows what's going on there. So they'll have to rely on the portal, which they'll still have money for. But at this point, like if you say it's Brian Daboll, this guy hadn't recruited in a while. I don't really know like what personality you get from Brian Daboll, the college head coach. I know that like sometimes it was fun guy Brian, and some guys it was what the hell Brian. Like at New York, is this a guy you think can make that transition to being a college head coach, or is this is the best thing for both of them right now?
I think his personality is actually better in college than the NFL because you heard there were some problems in the NFL where he was too emotional. Had a little bit of a loose temper. I think that flies more in college because it's my way or the highway, but the GM would have to be a strong hire. There is no doubt about that, and they're going to have to hit the portal, and they're going to have to hit the portal quick and hard. Like, if it is going to be Daboll, you got to get that done today, and it's got to be announced by tomorrow. Like, if they are hiring Daboll, it's not going to be Brom now. If they're hiring a guy that is available now, like to get into the facility tomorrow, this hire needs to be made by Friday at the latest, probably if not tomorrow. But like he hired Manny Diaz once. Are they waiting for Duke to wrap up the ACC championship game? I know Manny Diaz, was at Penn State a few years ago. Pat hired him for all 17 days at Temple. So is it someone that's in the NFL and they're just waiting to get it past the weekend? Like if we don't have a head coach at Penn State on Monday, and I say I'm not a Penn State fan, so who gives a rat's ass? But if they don't have a head coach by Monday, you better get Kalen DeBoer then. And I don't think Kalen DeBoer is getting left out of the college football playoffs, so he'll be staying in Alabama.
You're probably too young to remember, but when Nebraska fired Frank Solich, who had gone 9-3, and he was losing his grip a little bit because Texas and OU were so good. Steve Peterson took 42 days after they fired Frank Solich, took all of December and January before they landed Bill Callahan, and of course that didn't work out either.
It's also a different time, though. Like now, you see Lane Kiffin. I know he wanted to stay. Yeah, okay. All that stuff. You got to hit the ground running with the portal and how easy it is to leave and the early signing day. These like Cignetti flipped the roster overnight. The last 2 years, they've been one of the best teams in college football. So, I give credit to a guy like John Sumrall. I give credit to a guy like Eric Morris. I give credit to some of these guys that are finding a way to make both work, but there's a little bit difference when it's going to a G5 to a Power 5 school or Power 4 school. Kiffin tried to do this, leaving one school in the SEC and then going to another. It'd be like Smokey if, someone was trying to date you, was dating your sister for years, and then they break up with your sister and they dated your other sister. It's like, you're not going to invite that person over to Thanksgiving. No way.
No, that's if they're still alive to have a chance to ask her out again.
Yeah, I probably should have used that analogy for Paul looking back at it.
I only have one sister, and we don't celebrate Thanksgiving together. So,
who knows?
He would have allowed it.
Who knows? You may have another sister somewhere out there. You never know.
I do have a brother.
Well, he has a couple of kids that nobody knows about.
I was adopted. I met my brother. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
But of the other coaching hires that have happened in the last couple of days, which one is your favorite? And if it's not Brian Hartline at USF, do you think that – I think that's a home run for USF. But why is Brian Hartline not a coach or a candidate at Penn State? Because to me, that would have made a ton of sense too.
Yeah, so I thought Hartline could have been a candidate at Penn State. I don't know what the reason is. Like, you hear some rumors that maybe some people think he has still some growing up to do, but look at what he's been able to do at Ohio State and the people that he's been able to bring in, especially in the wide receiver room. I thought he would have got a bigger job. That's not the case. So he goes to USF, where I think it's a perfect stepping stone for him. If people have some questions about you, you go do well there. You don't have to go win a conference, but you do solid, you do well there, and then you got a big boy job calling for you soon. To answer your question, though, if we take Kiffin out of it, because I do think Kiffin and LSU, they match just so well. I love John Sumrall. I think John Sumrall is made for the SEC. Florida fans that oppose the hire, if you're not going to get Lane Kiffin, who else were you looking for? He has the personality. He is obviously a better fit for them than Billy Napier. I'm a big fan of the hire of John Sumrall.
I like that. And it looked like everything kind of ended up with Golish at Auburn and then Hartline going down to USF, and things have calmed down just a little bit. We did not have you on last week because we were off Wednesday through Friday with the holiday. Baylor in Aranda, and Dr.
Right.
Livingstone, of course, it's been a couple of Fridays ago. Their class was rated. The 3 or 4 highest rated players in the class end up going to Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Oklahoma State. I think even one of them skipped out to go to Rice. Those guys could have been on campus with even any kind of a semblance of 7 and 5 or so. Were you stunned when you saw the statement that he was retained? He had a press conference today, asked him a lot about, can he change who he is? I don't know if you can change your personality at that age.
Massive mistake by Baylor to continue Dave Aranda. I like, the only way I understand it is you didn't have an AD.
Right.
But still, why? I don't think you need an AD. Hey, Eric Morris, you're going to Oklahoma State. How about we'll get rid of Dave Aranda? You come to Baylor, you get to stay in Texas. Hello, done. That's what it should have been. Eric Morris should have been the coach of the Baylor Bears. They dropped the ball, so now you're going to go through a lame duck season of Aranda. They'll get a new AD in there. They'll fire Aranda. And, I always say this. Once you're out on a coach, it's very tough in college to get back in and then stay on that bandwagon. Look at Neil Brown. They want him out at West Virginia. Has one good season. Oh, we love him. He's going to stay. Then out the following season. This is so is there anything on the AD search yet at Baylor? Do we have anything? I
get the feeling, I know of a couple of names, and I know one that's probably the leading candidate, but I can't confirm it enough to say it. But I think that I really do think they would love to have someone hired before the weekend.
But here's the thing, Zach. If that happens, then keeping him is even dumber because it's based on 2 things. You didn't have an AD, and according to Linda Livingstone, it was to keep the recruiting class, which what?
I just said, yeah.
You didn't do. So because of those 2 things, and if you solve one of them literally a week after you could have done it, I'm lost.
But here's the thing. Apathy has kicked in.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
I have seen the photos.
Yeah.
I have seen the photos of the stadium for a passionate fan base just not showing up. So maybe they sat there and they said this. We know Aranda's a dead man walking. We don't have an AD. We're not going to arrange a shotgun marriage, and the AD is going to acquire someone with the new head football coach. Who knows if they're going to get along? A lot of jobs open up this year. We'll just kick the can down the road, and no one gives a rat's ass about the football program now. Is next year's a lost year, and we'll have low expectations, and we'll get rid of the coach, and then we'll just try to redo this a year from now, where there will be fewer jobs in theory available with how many big jobs were open. That's the only way I could spin it, and I think that's bullcrap.
The one that would have made sense was Jared. Again, I'm not saying he's a part of it, but I know that they would have kicked the tires on the Jared Mosley at North Texas, because then you get Eric Morris. He brings his quarterback.
Yeah.
But that didn't work out. Good for Eric Morris. He's going to Stillwater.
And you know what? I think it's a really good fit for him, but it's now in the Big 12, and you have to stare that in the face every year with the quarterback whisperer and Eric Morris, and you're going to be sitting there saying, we kept Aranda around when we could have got Eric Morris. And maybe Eric Morris falls flat on his face, and they get the right guy in there in a year from now. But this feels like a waste, an absolute waste.
Well, when you look at Oklahoma State, when they made the decision to fire Mike Gundy, one of the things they said was, we don't know what the landscape is going to be in 4 or 5 years. So in Oklahoma State, basically admitted, we are not protected from anything, when the next dominoes start to fall. So we need to make sure that we are as good as we can be and as forward-thinking as we can be for the next 5 years, so that if that does happen, we are in the best position we possibly can be. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, all the way around, it's bad. You take a year and kick it down the road, and then there's no guarantee that you're going to be good fast enough to where people start to care. You're already one of those teams who's not protected by legacy or anything like that. And not only to mention that, on the other side, you screw Dave Aranda anyway. You're not helping him out by keeping him. You're not helping any of those assistants or any of that.
I'm glad you
don't help him out at all.
Those assistants had a guy that was going to go, and now is it Michigan, Washington? I've mentioned this. I know Texas and Oklahoma State busted their asses to get those guys committed, and because of the uncertainty, because of the losing record, because of those guys are gone, and they had busted their ass to get them committed.
And I'm just giving you the Northeast perspective view. And I know that, Baylor, I've had connections with them, even to present day. But my view is, if I'm someone looking for a job, why would I want to touch this job right now with I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And you still had a chance to get, they could have got Eric Morris if they wanted to. So if that's where it is so doom and gloom right now, and you could have got him, now you're going to wait another year? That just seems like a mess. Like a mess.
I know the assistant staff has got, I know they are. I know that they're like, God almighty. And it's not really because even Aranda was retained. It's just that they had a pretty good thing set up. Now they have to,
there's no excitement. That's if I'm a recruit or if I'm somewhere right now, I'm looking at Baylor, I'm like, if I could go to Baylor and get the same amount of money, or go to Michigan, or go to Oregon, it's not even close. I'm going to Michigan and Oregon.
Oh, one of them picked going to a school, hadn't won a conference game in 2 years at Oklahoma State. Eric Morris is going to be his head coach. But they got to increase the NIL quite a bit. A lot of schools do, but I'm telling you, they're like 8 to 10 or 12 million, 15 million they got to work on, and I don't know where that's going to come from. They have money, but I'm not sure anyone wants to donate it right now for that, or whatever they would do. Thank you, Zach. Great stuff, buddy.
Yep, you got it, guys. Be well.
Good to see you. Zach Gelb, Infinity Sports Network. We appreciate him for his time.
But that's the other thing that I think that it's kind of we're going to retain him so that he can make he can work really hard to do it. Well, that's not the nature of the business. So now okay, so say he loses, say he makes some changes on his staff. Say he brings in a new defensive coordinator or something like that. Okay, well, who are you going to get that's going to come here to be the new defensive coordinator if they know that they're only going to move there for a year, if they could go to another staff that's new and they know that they have some potential time to be there? Now, look, every job in coaching is, 1 year and then we'll see. But this one is almost for sure you're going to be the coach there for 1 year and then go.
Yeah.
So it's going to make it hard for him to improve things, because it's going to make him hard to get people here who want to be here.
If I'm the AD that takes the job, and by the way, we mentioned Jared Mosley. I do not think that he's involved in this. There's a couple of pretty good names that have the opportunity to say yes. But if you're the incoming AD, you have to say, hey, wait a minute. If I'm here for about 2 to 3 weeks or a couple of 3 months and I don't like what we see, I got to have the ability to make the decision. And you can't handcuff me if I feel like there needs to be a change at the top as far as the football program, or that person knows Aranda's there for another year. All right, when we come back, Paul Catalina at his top 5. We'll have the poll results, the quizzes that we'll try to answer without one brain with us. Craig's out till perhaps tomorrow. And we spin the wheel. This is 365 Sports.
Golf is Las Vegas' ultimate golf attraction. Play, drink, and experience the best in golf entertainment. Atomic Golf offers a next-level golf entertainment experience in Las Vegas, featuring high-tech golf games, immersive gameplay, premium cocktails, and a high-energy atmosphere that goes beyond traditional golf venues. offering a one-of-a-kind golf entertainment experience for both locals and tourists. Visit atomicgolf.com to reserve today.
We've already used it on an iPhone, and now I'm going to use it on my laptop. Let's plug it into the side, and then we get a message saying, allow accessory to connect. Let's close this and see if this, there it is, right there. The no name drive is there. As our photos. Oh, as you can see, the hub works just as it did on the iPhone, and it will as well on an iPad. So now I'll have a dual monitor with my laptop set up.
Go beyond with Hyper.
All right, we still have a lot to get Monday Mornings, man. We really need to push over to land this call.
Hydration fast. And it's taking over your neck. Ditch the glitch with Liquid IV.
You are so close to getting the world's most comfortable dress shirt. But you're probably wondering how it fits. This is our trim fit. It has a tailored athletic cut that fits close against the body. It's not I liked that band before they sold out hipster can't breathe skinny, but not DiCaprio flapping in the wind at the front of the Titanic loose. Our shirts come with 4-way stretch, so if you're performing in the gun show that she bought tickets to, you'll have plenty of room. As always, our shirts require no ironing and are machine washable. Now put one in the cart and get to clicking.
MizenandMain.com. The 4-burner, side sear burner with Clearview glass stainless steel grill from Monument Grills. Made of tempered glass, which is strong, insulated, and allows you to check your grilling without lifting the lid. Our porcelain-coated cast iron cooking grids offer a large cooking surface of 513.3 square inches, primary cooking area, with even heat cooking. The Monument Grills include LED control knobs and are easy to light with pilotless electronic ignition. Better grilling, better value, Monument Grills.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5.
Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5, brought to you by flagandanthem.com. Use our promo code 365sports for a discount at checkout. We're going to grade more hires. Now, I will warn you, one of these is not officially official yet, but seeing as it is National Signing Day, I think it's floated out there so that the incoming recruits to this school know that there is a plan in place. Because Chris Klieman is leaving Kansas State. We'll get to that in 1 second. So let's go. Number 5, UCLA, Bob Chesney, A- hire here. Actually, part of me wanted to give this an A+ because I really like what Bob Chesney's done at Holy Cross and James Madison. But going into UCLA, you may not have as much institutional support as you did at those other places per capita. We'll see. It seems like they are making some changes, even talking about not playing their games in the Rose Bowl and playing them much closer at SoFi Stadium, which would be a huge change and might actually get people to the game and out of traffic for a while, which is a huge thing for the new coach. And I think the Rose Bowl thing might have been hanging over their head for a while. As historic as a locale as it is, it's a 90-minute drive from campus on a good day at UCLA. So they need butts and seats. They need a fun brand of football. Bob Chesney can bring them that. Number 4, this one not officially official, but it's about as officially, unofficially, official as it can be, with Colin Klein heading to Kansas State. Chris Klieman is set to announce his retirement. As of taping, that had not happened yet. But it appears that it is going down that road and that Colin Klein will be the next head coach at Kansas State. I could have put Tosh Lupoy at Cal in this spot as well, but that's also in a similar state where it's probably going to happen, but hasn't happened officially yet. But I think this is a B+ hire for Kansas State, and I'm only downgrading it from A in that the great quarterback coming back is not necessarily the best thing to do, but Colin Klein's a hot coordinator right now. He's done a fantastic job at K-State before and now at Texas A&M for the last couple years under Mike Elko. The development that he had of Avery Johnson, which has regressed since he left, And Marcel Reed, which has accelerated since he got to Texas A&M, has been fantastic. He knows how to work with quarterbacks. That's one of the things I want in an offensive head coach from here on out if I am hiring someone. So I'll give this a B+, and I only downgrade it because I don't know how deeply they looked after Colin Klein. I know he's maybe the best fit, but, sometimes we just go alum because that's what the fans want. That can be a little bit dicey, but I trust Gene Taylor. I think this is a pretty good hire, but I'm giving it a B+ because they just went to their favorite alum, who's the highest rated coach right now. Not necessarily the perfect winning formula, but what is. Number 3, Neil Brown at North Texas, B+. This is a really, really good hire for Jared Mosley and the Mean Green. I'm wait and see on, how he can develop like Eric Morris could. That's why maybe he didn't give it an A, but he dominated at Troy. He was really, really good. Not an exact fit in the Big 12 at West Virginia, but at North Texas, he can be fantastic. And it wouldn't shock me to see him stay there for several years and not necessarily just launch himself into another job. Jacksonville State, Troy, obviously bridge jobs for him. He got to West Virginia, didn't work out. I think North Texas, great fit. I think he'll recruit really well in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and around Texas. Number 2, Will Stein at Kentucky. Absolute A hire. If Kentucky's really serious about putting some money behind football, you've got a great offensive mind, a guy who's from your state, although he did go to your rival, Louisville. But I think this is great. One of the best young offensive minds in the game coming from Oregon. Hiring assistants has not really been the thing in this cycle, but Kentucky, Mitch Barnhart, thumbs up for this one, buddy. This is a very, very, very good hire, and I love what you guys did here. Not that it matters what I think, but I think Will Stein is going to be a really fun head coach for you, and good luck hanging on to him if you start winning at Kentucky, because he is young, and the better he gets, the more football programs are going to call asking for him. So make yourself a football program. Try to keep him forever. And finally, number 1, Brian Hartline. I almost A++++++ this hire, like the teacher in the dream sequence in A Christmas Story about his theme. A++++++, all the way down. You know why I did that? Because Brian Hartline has been probably ready to be a head coach for a couple years now, but you're the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You don't just go for anything. But USF is a good proving ground job and a school that's trying to grow. They've already said they're going to do the full allotment in NIL and that they're going or in revenue sharing and that they're going to go above and beyond. They're building a new stadium on campus. There is legitimate buzz and excitement around this team because of what Alex Golesh helped build. Now you can take that and run with it. The other reason this gets an A+ is that the best coach who recruits the state of Florida is Brian Hartline. Nobody recruits the state of Florida better than Brian Hartline. Not Mario Cristobal, not Mike Norvell, which is a whole nother thing, not anybody. Not Scott Frost right now. Nobody recruits the state of Florida like Brian Hartline does. The best football player in America is Jeremiah Smith. He is from nowhere close to Ohio. And he was there. Also, I would say that he's probably the 3rd or 4th best recruiter of football talent in Texas in the country. Georgia, anywhere else. He is, you know what? I'm going to say it. Overall, he's the best recruiter in the country. The best. He's unbelievable. And now he's at USF, proving that he'd be a head coach, and they're willing to throw some resources behind him to do it. USF, absolute, I'm going to say it. Nobody can top it. Best hire of the cycle, given all of this. Brian Hartline will win at USF, I think. I mean, we'll see. I guess I don't know. It's all, there's so many factors nowadays. But I do think Brian Hartline, and I hope he's there for a little bit, but if he feels like he wants to stay in Florida for a little while, you can just reverse those initials there. Just saying. But I'm not saying. Anyhow, I'm in a festive mood, so let's spin some wheels. It's time for the carnival. Okay. What's one TV channel you loved watching growing up? Andrew's is Cartoon Network's Adults, and Logan's was Adult Swim. So
what
no
is
wonder
it?
they're fast friends.
Okay, but what's the definition of growing up? What ages?
For me, it would probably be, man, I loved Nick at Night, which I don't know if exists in the same way anymore. Because I like to watch the old shows like All in the Family or the Nelsons, Leave It to Beaver. So the difference is when you were that age where I liked that, there were only 4 channels.
Why do you have to always bring up my age?
It's just.
Well, that's why I asked those, Paul.
Yeah,
because there was ABC, there was NBC, there was CBS, there was PBS, there was no Fox, there was no cable. I mean, during my youth.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if there was like an alternate channel.
Yeah, you didn't have like a channel.
But they had cartoons on Saturday mornings, and that was pretty cool. But so I don't really have one.
Yeah.
Now now I know that I'm not in my youth. Now my favorite channel that I would sit there and I could watch all day is the Food Network.
Okay.
Only because I love to cook and I love to watch how they do it. What are you laughing at, Andrew?
Yeah.
You what?
He agrees with you.
Yeah, I could just sit there. Now there's a guy that's not on the Food Network. His name is Jamie Oliver. He's from like Britain or something like that. He's
English.
pretty, English.
It's very English.
Is that
Great Britain, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same
He's
country,
British,
right?
Yes. British, English, yes.
But I've watched him because he kind of looks, it's just cool. But I love the Food Network.
Jamie Oliver's big on making healthy school lunches. Talks about that a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because when we were kids, they were definitely not healthy.
No.
They were barely food.
I was so bad when I was
when I was a kid, school lunch food was just above, like they dropped their stuff off at our place before they went to prison.
Yeah, no, they did. Oh, that like the cream of corn.
We got the front of the truck.
Yeah.
The prison got the back of the truck.
I was always I never had a lunch card. You know, they clip it or whatever, punch it. I always had a lunch pail or something because we had 5 kids.
Yeah.
And my mom she'd set us up pretty well.
The shapes of pizza that come out of school cafeterias in the 80s, like we had for a while when I was in middle school, we had octagonal pizza. It was like an octagon, like a stop sign. Like really? you can't, like if you went to any pizzeria anywhere in the world,
there's not an octagon.
But you're not going to be like, I'll have a large pepperoni, and you open it up and it's
an octagon. No. It might be oblong, but it's not going to be an octagon.
Yeah, and that would
what was the one cafeteria food that all your friends had when I was a lunch pail guy? And I never had anything fancy. It was usually a sports figure that you wish, though, that day you could eat cafeteria food. Was it pizza or was it?
You know, I'll tell you, the pizza wasn't that bad.
No.
It wasn't that bad. It was just
I don't think you
shaped.
could screw up pizza.
Yeah, the pizza wasn't that bad. You know what? Sloppy Joe Day I did like Sloppy Joe Day.
Just the fries usually were pretty good for some reason.
I would alternate because, but we would have a menu. Like they would tell you what it's going to be. When I was young, you didn't know at first. Like I remember I was like 2nd, 3rd grade. You just walk in and be like, I guess it's this today.
And, now you walk in, it's P.F. Chang's, Chick-fil-A, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Anyway, Nick at Night. Does it still exist? I don't even know.
My youth was 50-something years ago.
Which famous NFL figure chose the name for the Cincinnati Bengals? Pete
Paul.
Rozelle, Virgil Carter, Paul Brown, or Kent Anderson, who was their quarterback.
Virgil Carter was a quarterback.
Yeah.
Pete Rozelle, of course, was a commissioner.
Well, I mean,
and he was with the Rams.
Paul Brown's son owns the team currently.
It's not Ken Anderson. He was a quarterback.
Yeah. I'm going to say Paul Brown.
They lost to the 49ers a couple of times back when they had Montana. It's got to be Paul Brown.
It's got to be Paul Brown. There you go.
Yeah.
1968 Hall of Fame coach Paul Brown, co-founder of the Browns, co-founded the Cincinnati Bengals, and became their first head coach.
And they're big rivals, yeah.
Yeah, he named them the Bengals after a previous pro team, rejecting fan ideas like Buckeyes.
No, you can't do Buckeyes for pros.
Yeah.
Although they do pay their players.
Yeah. Brown retired as coach in 1975, but stayed team president until 1991 when he passed away. The Cincinnati Stadium was named Paul Brown Stadium in his honor. His son, Mike, owns the team now. And most people in Cincinnati wish that wasn't true.
I think the quarterback picture on the right is actually Frank Ryan with the Browns, with Paul Brown. Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, that's impressive that you can recognize Frank.
But I can't remember. I don't know who the quarterback is now. Oh, Shador. All right.
Yeah. When was the last college football game of the century between undefeated number 1 and number 2 teams?
You and I know 93.
Yeah.
And that might have been Charlie Ward, Bobby Bowden, Nebraska, and I think that might have been. Now, I'm trying to think of 11. Wasn't that the year that Kansas State? No, that was 12. 11, Oklahoma State was really good.
They've never won.
No, they were close.
So we're talking about number 1 and number 2 teams playing in a game.
Well, 2000.
That were both undefeated.
Are we talking playoffs, bowl game, or regular
No,
season?
it's just this game. So it's got to be number 1, number 2 on.
That was Joe Burrow's
teams.
year, right? Garrett, do you remember LSU playing a 1-against-2 that year? I mean, LSU was
But were they
so
undefeated?
good.
Like was the team they played?
I want to say
undefeated?
it's 93 Nebraska, Florida State.
I'm gonna let you have that. That would stand to reason. Although in 19,
Damn it! Oh, Alabama.
LSU, you were right the first time.
Well, Garrett, where the hell are you?
I'm trying to think. This was the Mason. Was this the Mason Taylor overtime catch? It might have been.
Yeah. Let's see.
Wait a minute.
It was not.
So
No,
wait
it
a
was
minute.
not.
So
First regular season number 1 versus number 2 clash since 2011. Okay. The upcoming December 6th championship, Ohio State versus Indiana. Similar hype. Okay. Indiana in the game of the century is something I never thought I would say.
How much of a chance? And I think they're really good, and they got a little swagger. And Cignetti has just he's very confident. What are the odds, 1 to 10, that Indiana wins on Saturday? I know you may have picked them.
I picked them.
You trying to come from behind again?
No, I got a feeling.
I would love to see that
I got a
happen. I know,
feeling.
Carice, we'd lose you forever, and you probably would do things to yourself.
I just got a feeling.
Okay.
Just got a
All
feeling.
right.
I have no other reason than
The best
got a feeling.
game of the century, which they now have had too many of them, was 1971 Nebraska, Oklahoma.
By the way, in this logo here, the Blue Devil looks like Batman, which I'm sure is what they were going for.
Yeah, it looks like the devil.
Can underdog Duke beat Virginia for the ACC title? 396 votes, 73% say it's realistic. Look, Virginia, if you watch them, they're a fun watch, but they've got issues on defense. Like they're not gonna. They'll score a bunch, but they'll also let you score a bunch.
Yes.
Yeah.
Duke is high. Duke's playing well. Is it Manny Diaz?
Yeah.
I do think realistic is a fair. No shot. I do think that if no matter who wins that game, you're going to have teams that are not used to being around, and I think it's great. Tech, Indiana was last year, but Indiana, if in fact the ACC, it's Virginia.
If it's not, Dave Bartu says it's
North
James
Texas,
Madison.
James Madison.
Yeah.
Who else is out there?
Tulane,
think about it. A&M.
Yeah.
They've never been in this situation. They were 2020. They were pretty good, but they didn't get in the playoff. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and that's why it's great.
I know.
Because we get different teams.
Instead of the same ones, Paxton.
Yeah.
And
Jeff Ward. They weren't it that often anyway.
Jeff Ward used to be a kicker for Texas. Is this the Jeff Ward you're talking about?
Before the last 2 years, how many times was Texas in the CFP?
The CFP never.
Exactly.
Never. They've been in that BCS championship game in 2009. All right.
Okay. Should the G6 have their own college football playoff to make everyone happy? 56% say yes. No. 44% of 358 votes. Mac Brown said this on the show yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
That he did. Look, I think
it was on Monday, Paul.
I think if they're going, it was on Monday. I think if they're going to go this route, as our monitor goes off, if they're going to go this route, then there needs to be an option for basically they need to say this is what it costs to get in. And if you want to be in, then you can be at the big level. And I think, just when we talked to Jeremiah Dickey the last time at Boise State, he echoed that. He said, look, we just want to know, is this something that we can do? Like, tell us what the number is so we can make a decision, yes or no, because he thinks the decision would be yes. If you went to the Boise State people and said, it's going to cost us having this much revenue and this much buy-in to get in, we need to raise it. Most of them would say, yes, please, let's do that. We'd like to be a part of that. Or you can give the teams the option to go like, you know what? There's no way we can do that. And let's go to here.
There's part of me that I hate it for this reason. You play the game. You don't go by what Vegas says.
Yeah.
If we were going to go by Vegas, then Indiana would not have been in the playoff last year. You don't do the, you play the games. Now, I also understand what Mac Brown said. He made it very eloquent the way he fought for them in a way where they could still, like, for example, North Dakota State. You think they celebrate whenever they win the FCS?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they do. Or in Mount Union or Whitewater or whoever else in Division III.
Well, and the thing about the FCS is you don't have teams in the FCS that are actively trying to make rules to screw other teams in the FCS.
Yeah.
It's not like North Dakota State and South Dakota, Montana and Montana State. They're not like walking around like making rules to be like, hey, you know who we're really going to screw? Cal Poly. Like we don't need Cal Poly in this thing. They're all in it together. So I think that part of that where like that's never going to stop. You know, the fact that James Madison and Tulane or North Texas could get in this playoff is going to drive Greg Sankey insane.
Oh, I love it. I wish I could get video of him.
Yeah, but and all the other power commissioners that they're going to get in. So their response will be, we need to create something where we don't have to worry about them anymore.
I agree.
And they're not going to stop doing that.
I would say that if they somehow could make sure that the media or the networks or whatever who control everything, put them up and prop this up in the proper way, then I think that this could be. I still hate the fact that you don't believe.
Because, and the reason I say that is they're never going to stop is the House settlement happened, correct? All the teams that are not in the Power Four still have to pay into it, even though 95% of the bill comes from the Power Four.
Mm-hmm.
So they are making you pay into something that they did.
Yes.
That's a scam.
Yep. So, hey, tomorrow, I don't know how we're going to figure all this out. And I hope Craig's back. He's just not feeling great the last couple of days. Sam Kahn, I believe Max Olson. I'm interviewing Navy quarterback Blake Horvath, which we might hold on for Friday, and then also next week, Army-Navy in a couple of weeks. Sheil Wood, Texas Tech defensive coordinator. I think we're going to get locked in with that. And there's a couple of others. That's tomorrow.
We'll have Mojo Rankings.
Rankings from Craig, yeah.
Mojo Rankings, picks, and off the radar.
Yeah, it's a busy day. Real quick, National Signing Day. Top teams based on all the combination. USC, Notre Dame, Oregon, Georgia, Tennessee, 1 through 5. Bama, Ohio State, Miami, A&M, and LSU, 10. And then Texas, Michigan, Florida, Florida State, Washington, from 11 to 15.
And look, watch out for Chris Henry Jr., one of the number one wide receivers in the country, has been committed to Ohio State. He hasn't signed with them yet. Oregon's making a push and others, but it's either going to be Oregon or Ohio State. That's the big interesting one for later on.
Brandon, thank you. Garrett, thank you. Andrew, thank you. Thank you for watching us. This is 365 Sports.